And here we are.
That's all, folks.
Here we are at the end of the show. Thank you all for being here. We want to send a huge thank you to all the patrons of the Toy Frenzy hosts.
Okay,
and
cut it off, Oz.
Cut it off here, Oz.
Oh, okay.
Live. Oh, we were just pretending. We were trying to figure out how to figure it out the ending there. Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, trying to figure out where to cut it.
Start at the end. That's what I say.
That's right. Yeah, let's just back
That's
it
where
up.
all the good pictures are in the back of the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many
The
people got that?
appendices.
Well, you can find out who the monster is quicker.
That's right. Find out who find out the twist at the end. Find out the references. All the stuff. So all the goodies are at the end.
Very true. All the goodies.
Sorry to spoil it, but Grover's the monster.
Yeah.
What? I've been reading this book forever.
That was my favorite book as a kid.
It was a great.
I loved that one.
Fantastic.
This starts off. He's got it like all like taped off, and then like a couple page later, he's got like the wood.
It's awesome. It's a classic.
I love that book.
It's the best. Well, everyone, thanks for being here for another episode of Toy Frenzy. We're on episode 65 today, which is a pretty great number for some reason. I'm not sure, but I don't have the answer to that. But I'm sure somebody out there has 65 as a lucky number or something.
Oh, wait till we get to 4 more.
Right, that's the big number.
I don't understand the significance of that.
Of 69.
I was trying to play like I don't understand. I don't understand what you kids get out of numbers.
I'm sorry, Grandpa. It was for the young reference there.
Well played, Papa Skelly. Well played.
So dudes, how you doing?
Good. Yourself?
I'm never ready for that.
I've said it 52 times, almost.
Just about, yeah. Kids in their math.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
37,
7, 8. I'm counting
12.
the amount of times that you've done that.
Okay.
14, 62.
No, don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. Oz, how are you doing?
I am doing phenomenal, brother. It has been, okay. I say I'm doing phenomenal. But
how do you say that? And say, oh, well, okay.
I'm doing phenomenal.
One thing,
well, not really. Not really doing
There's
great.
a couple things getting me down, but I'm happy to be here with you guys. Happy to be here with everybody in the chat. That has made it that much better. I'll put it that way. That has lifted my spirits. Because coming into this week, I was a little bummed out. Supposed to be on my way to Legends Con tonight.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot.
What happened with that?
Well, wasn't able to get the time off of work. So
I'm sorry.
It's unfortunate, but that's okay though, because I get to hang out with everybody here tonight, and that's cool. Although I'm missing an epic road trip with Jesse and Shawn right now, and that's a bit of a bummer. I was really looking forward to that. And then I just think we all know the other news that I'm kind of bummed out about too, that I know we were talking about. Well, we'll be talking about briefly here in a minute, but it's kind of a bitter, it's a little bummer thing. But
every era must come to an end, I guess. But I'm a little bummed too. We'll have to say that I do have to say that it's been a long time. Well, let's start over. What exactly are you talking about, Oz?
He-Man.org.
Yeah, it's a little sad.
Yeah.
We were talking about it before we got started tonight, and we're all a little bit bummed about that because, for all of us, for all three of us, and I'm sure for Adam and I'm sure for Shawn too. By the way, everybody, Adam is feeling under the weather tonight. He's really sorry he couldn't be here. And Shawn, obviously, he's on the road to Legends Con right now. I think I think he's like showing up right about now or something like that is what he said to me in the message. So he's probably not going to be able to pop in. He's probably exhausted, which, but I'm sure, I know that at least for me, and I'll just start from my perspective, He-Man.org, back in the early 2000s when I was just starting to sort of revisit my interest in Masters of the Universe, that's where I'd go for pictures of action figures. That's where I'd go for any kind of inkling of any news of any sort. This is right before the Mike Young Productions show was announced, and it was a really great place to go and just see that there was some activity, that some fans were getting together and posting stuff. I never participated in the forums, but it was always part of my, what can I do at work today that's not work? Okay, I'm gonna go look up some images of Merman or something.
Yeah, right.
And it was great. You type in Merman and He-Man.org would pop up.
That's right.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was like one of the only places you can go to actually for any of the information. I mean, that was actually trustworthy sources as well.
Yeah, that too.
Right. Yeah.
So.
We've come to an age where we've all been around since internet became a home thing. Like you could have it in your house.
And
Oh no, because I laughed because I remember when I was in college and my teacher once said, he's like, yeah, in a few years, everybody's going to be able to work from home. You're going to be able to go shopping online and do all this. And I called bullshit. I said, we ain't going to.
That's not possible.
He said another couple of years. It only took a few decades later before it became reality. But yeah,
I'm not that old. Come on.
Oh shit, my bad.
But yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
I a few decades. I remember do you guys remember the first thing that you looked up when you could go to a place that had internet?
Yeah,
I do.
I think so too. What was yours?
The Melvins.
Oh, really? You looked that up?
Nice.
The first thing I looked up at the college library, once they got internet and they had a couple of computers in there, I went over there and I looked up the Melvins. That was the first thing.
Wow.
And so Buzz and Dale, if you're listening, that's which they're not, obviously. I just want you to know I've been a lifelong
They
fan.
totally are. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they watch the show.
Yeah, the first thing I looked up was Star Wars trading.
For me, I know it was.
I was trading a lot of Star Wars figures and buying off of people, and that was after that magazine thing I was using. So it was pretty early. That was 1998.
Yep,
I started doing that.
Yep.
And you would trust the people. This is before eBay and all that crap. So you'd have to trust them to send your thing while you send them something as well.
You still had to be patient.
Yeah, you had to trade.
Still had to be patient.
Yeah, and most of I'd say about 99% of the time I got it. Yeah, so it was
checks, cash, money order. There was no purchasing online or transference of credit card crap yet.
Yep.
No PayPal.
Yeah, because I remember arguing with one guy online saying, because it was about the Phantom Menace, and he didn't believe me that the Darth Sidious was Palpatine. He thought, he thought Darth Sidious was going to train Palpatine. I was like, why would he train an old asshole?
Yeah.
Why would he train that?
Right? Like, I was like,
how do you not know that actor is? I don't know who the hell I was talking to. It must have been some younger kid or something.
That is so funny. Yeah, he must have been a kid because
Bobby's first experience with a troll.
No, he was actually one I was trading with. So I sent him like a 12-inch Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I had like 20 of those Luke Skywalker figures that they handed out at the movie theater.
Okay.
Because I worked at the theater and I got a box of like 50 of them, so I took 20 for
Nice.
myself.
There you go. That's how you do it.
Why
That's
not,
They were
right?
worth like $150 at the time.
At the
Yeah,
time,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
They
I was out
were
there.
huge.
I was like, "Hey, I got this," and they're like, "Okay," and I get all this shit. I traded that figure. It
yeah.
was great. Yeah, it was a
Right?
good
That's the
time.
way to do it, man.
Yeah, that was what
Yeah.
1998 and
That
97.
would have been 98 going
Yeah,
into
yeah, that was a long time
99.
ago. Yeah, so that's like my
It was
first.
before the prequels, right?
Yeah, that's my
Yep.
first internet experiences. I think was doing that stuff.
For me, it was a lot of just looking up different Star Wars stuff. I was getting online like 1993. My buddy John was the first person I knew who had internet in his house. He was the one that was like, well, you could do mail. We can set you up an email. And I was like, what the hell's an email? And he's like, so we can electronically mail one another.
And Oz is so young, he's like in Blue's Clues.
Well, he didn't think of the fact that the only place I could check my email was at his house. So if he would send me something, I'd still have to wait to go to his house to check it. And I've still got that email address. And it's a Star Wars related email address, Thrawn_4@hotmail.com.
That's amazing. Hotmail.
Yeah,
that's
his
a
old
that's a
Hotmail
throwback.
account that doesn't exist.
My first one was AOL.com. So
There you go.
Yeah,
Super old school.
old free guys.
My first email was on a CD-ROM.
Jeez.
Right? Well, you remember when
that doesn't make sense. But yes,
it kind of does, because remember you had to collect all the. Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys ran around the neighborhood collecting all the CDs so you could get extra online time.
No, I had no idea that was a
I
thing.
didn't do that. I had a bunch of old people in my neighborhood. They weren't doing any of that shit.
They don't have
exactly. So that's why you go around, you collect all the free AOL CDs and just stock up.
Kept walking around, going up to each house, grabbing their mailbox.
Pulling it out of there. Pulling it right out of their newspaper baggy thing.
Yeah, right.
I built a cardboard box Ghostbusters backpack, and I attached a little like a tube to a stick, and I went around the neighbors' houses, and I was like, can I come in and bust some ghosts? And they were like, okay, that's the weird kid from the neighborhood. And they're like, what do we do? Say okay to this special kid.
Yeah, right.
But that's the only instance where I went around to people's houses.
Oh, wow.
Well, let's jump into the chat and say hey to everybody, because it's getting further and further away from me here. So
it's getting deep. It's getting deep.
It's getting real deep.
Don't say that too loud.
Oh, it's getting deep.
No. Oh, good.
We've got John, figuratively speaking here, definitely was first. We've got my buddy's Customs, Ray Black, Brick Something is here. Poochie to the extreme.
What does that mean?
Inside jokes.
Okay.
Extreme weirdness.
Toy Mama is hanging out with us this evening. We have Thanos Copter here pushing out all the naughty November goodness.
Crazy.
I know. He's been very productive.
So is his figures.
We've got Bud saying he's playing some Diablo 4 while he watches the stream, killing vampires, raising the dead. Okay. Well,
how do you do? Are you outside, like you watch one eye and the other, like a fish? Or you like that?
I don't know how anyone can do that. Yeah, Bud, like if you can do Bud, I appreciate your ability to do that, man. I can't do it.
Multitasking.
Yeah.
We have Chef M80 joining us here, hanging out. Duchess of Darkness, fresh off of Wicked Wednesdays.
Also hit the 1K mark on her subs.
Hey, congratulations. That's right.
So, Duchess did reach out a little bit earlier. As we all know, our good friend Brick needed some help hitting those watch hours. And very similarly to how I pulled the call to arms to help pull Skelly over the watch hours, I did the call to arms to help Brick get over his watch hours. It's time for Duchess's turn, guys.
That's right.
Go to her channel, pull up any of her playlists from Wicked Wednesday, Spooky Stories, the Prowler theme story that has been running for, a couple months now. Go pull up those playlists if you can. Put it on a second device in the background on another web browser if you're on your computer. and start playing the shows in the background. Let's get Duchess up to those watch hours, because I know that is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're trying to monetize, is get those watch hours. So please, folks, if you can, pull it up, another browser, another device, and start watching that playlist in the background. Have it run, keep the volume, muted a little bit. Do what you can, please.
We've got a 3-day weekend. Some of you have all 3 days off. If you have all 3 days off, put it on rotation. Veterans Day tomorrow. Veterans Day tomorrow.
Oh, I don't have that off for that.
It's not one of mine off either.
Well, it's mine. Tomorrow. I'm just put it on and let it roll, people. Let it roll all weekend long.
And in 5 years, we'll do the same thing for me after I hit.
That's right. That's right. We'll see you.
It's not going to take you 5 years, Bobby. You're going to end up hitting it before I do.
We'll see you in 5 years on Veterans Day weekend for Bobby's channel. It'll be next year. You'll see. It'll be in 3 months from now.
I doubt it.
People are going to get hooked.
This new episode's going to kick your ass.
Oh, yes,
indeed. Because the last one was really, really good.
Oh, this one, it picks up now. I'm writing it like Breaking Bad, where it's just going to go.
That's the way to do it. Slow build, man. Always the slow build. Always. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm excited about it. I'm sorry, but I'm excited. Yeah.
No, you should be excited. It's great stuff. And Duchess, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah.
Big congrats. All right, so we got the in talking going on, scrolling down, and Nolan has arrived. We are officially a Toy Tube show tonight.
That's right.
Nolan.
Excellent. And I think John made it back, and we still hadn't gone live yet.
John's back. Yeah. Oh, man, we're ridiculous.
We've got Adam here. May not be live with us, but he's hanging out in the chat, keeping everybody better. I hope you feel better, brother.
Yeah, he's going to bed. He's going to bed. So
I hope he got my care package, the Vixen hot dogs.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
That'll fix any illness,
any illness,
mental or physical.
Yep.
It'll even prevent you from getting sick in the future too. It's preventative.
Because after the hot dogs, you always feel sick.
Yeah, if you're always feeling sick, how can you be sick? You know?
Exactly.
Hey man, if it already puts you in the bathroom so that you don't have to leave.
Oh man.
Oh man.
I wasn't going there with it, but okay.
Oh wow.
Oz had to go
went
there
with it. It's extreme weirdness.
Extreme weirdness. Ronald, good to see you.
Ronald Embry is here. Good to see you, brother. All
Every week.
The chat just jumped. Hold on. Here we go. We got HP Brown.
Hey.
Go Nordiques.
He's back.
Nordiques aren't around anymore.
He's in Quebec right now.
You know what? I may have to leave, guys. I'm not allowed to call Quebec.
No?
No, I'm not. They might send the Mounties down after me.
Well, they can't cross the border, so.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We can talk about it on air. I don't mind. Joe Gonzalez is with us here. He just put out some real hot custom figures that he was showing off earlier that are some Mythic Legion stuff. It was gorgeous looking. And Joe's one of the few who's not going to Legion's Con. So, brother, you feel my pain. I appreciate you being here hanging out with us tonight.
It's a good alternative.
Yeah.
Right? That's the only alternative. What are you talking about?
This is a hashtag Toy Frenzy Con.
There you go. The sad man hangout for not going to Legion's Con.
What was that thing on MTV, the alternative show? What was that alternative thing?
Oh man, which one?
What was the name of it?
Not 120 minutes. That was something else, right?
I think maybe it was. Yeah, I don't remember.
It was 120 minutes.
I was trying to be funny, like we can name ourselves the show. Like
I know. I'm trying to think.
It's been so long since MTV.
Hell, we can still call it 120 minutes. We're on that long.
That's right. 120 minutes.
Right? We're on for at least 2 hours. So we got this. Hold on a sec here. I just saw it pop up on the other one. It was definitely 120.
Oh yeah. All right. Hey, I did it. How did I remember that?
120 minutes plus 10.
Yes.
There we go. That's
alternative YouTube television.
Appreciate you, folks. All right, let's get back up here. Give Eric Perryman his proper due.
Eric, good to see you.
Always a pleasure. And so much in talking going on. I love seeing this every week. We've got Cobweb Collector in the house. He is here hanging out.
We were just talking. Wait, I just want to say, Cobb, we were just talking about how in some ways, for some of us, I'm talking about me, when I want to see a figure review, I go to you first now. So you've been so consistent that I love that. You're a reliable resource now, man. So thank you, Cobb.
Now with the pressure that Skelly just put on you, you got to keep it going.
Keep it going.
Right?
Keep it going.
Now you've been put out there on the biggest toy talk show on Thursday nights.
130 minutes.
There you
130 minutes. You've been put out there now. Got to keep it going.
In 3/8.
3/8.
In 3/8, yeah. Black Phoenix, yeah. Amen. Black Phoenix for sure.
It has gone by pretty quick, though. For me, it has.
It's been a rough week, but it's gone by fast. Yeah.
Well, it's the damn. This is the first year since 2009 I had to change my clocks.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And I'm so thrown off by it now because I'm like, why is it getting dark so early? And I'm not used to it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
It's
cooler here than back in Arizona, so it's like throwing me. I'm way off right now.
Yeah,
I bet. Did you have to go out and buy a jacket?
No, I have a jacket, but I'm such a wimp. I have to have this long sleeve shirt next to me because I get cold.
It's okay. You can call it. You can call it what it is. Cardigan. It's a cardigan.
Old man cardigan. It's a rite of passage. You hit 50, now you have your cardigan.
Well, I mean, when I was in Chicago, I could go down downtown and it's 15 degrees out, and I have my leather jacket wide open, and everybody's looking at me like I'm nuts. I'm like, it's not cold out.
But you were also
now if it dips into 50s, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, when I was in my 20s, I could do that too.
I was in my 30s still doing that.
When you're used to the exposure,
Bobby's always bragging about his abilities.
That's right, my abilities. Hey, with the abilities, I got a responsibility. So I got.
That's right. That's right.
I don't brag. What am I talking about? I brag. I'm like the least person to brag. Do I brag?
Not at all.
No.
No. It's my sense of humor. I'm sorry.
He's just picking on you, Bobby.
Well, I don't like.
He's going to be all self-conscious, and he's going to go.
I don't like it. Don't pick on me.
He's going to go in the porta potty now, Skelly. Thanks. All right, we've got Alex Black Phoenix hanging out in the chat.
Outside.
Mike Fee, hey, good to see you.
Here. Good to have you, brother. Thank you.
Oh, he got the art. Great, wonderful.
Oh, nice.
Everybody in the chat that has won something, your things are already been placed in the mail, except for Thanos, because I'm hoping that I can get together with Thanos soon since he lives in the area. And Vicente, if you're watching this, get me your address, man, because I'll send you over the thing that you won, the comics that you won.
And Brick's just mentioning that we'll hang out and talk con coverage this weekend. I appreciate that. I'm going to need it to cope.
Yeah.
All right. And still scrolling down here. I know we have more people coming into the chat, man. It takes so long to get through it anymore because we got so many people. We've got Allison Troy in here. What I should have been doing, I should have been starring everybody as I went down.
So this last week.
I did it last week. It was great.
Allison, this is the back. I'm not going to show you the front. This is the back of your painting. So I just got to get it in the mail. Just got to get it in the mail.
What the hell is that?
What?
I mean, why show the back to say, hey, I got that?
I want it to be a surprise.
I know.
I want it to be a surprise.
Oh man,
Mike's
here's an empty glass for you. You can't have the water, but here's the empty glass.
See, I make fun of Bobby once, and now he's just going to give me a hard time the whole show.
He's going to ride you all
night. You
night.
Always give me a hard time. Every time.
He's going to ride you all night now. It's going to happen.
I'm a sensitive.
Oh, I understand. I'm sensitive too. Everybody in my household knows I'm super sensitive.
You big old softies.
Yeah. No, I'm punk. I'm hardcore.
Apparently not.
I'm tough. I'm like the studs on my jacket, man.
Yeah.
Mike Fee is saying he
If you had
back in the day, if you had,
56K.
yeah, that's true. I guess so.
We remember that 56K modem, man. You were flying. It'd take you 3 hours to download that JPEG.
Well,
So
Hey!
saying frenzy time. Ken, glad you could be here, brother. Thank you.
Ken,
thank
good
you.
to see you here.
So I've had the chance to see the full edited version of the history of 1986 lineup for Toy Connections that he's doing for Masters Universe that we collaborated on. Ken, thank you for including me on that project, brother. That was a lot of fun to do, and I can't wait until it's going to be out. And Ken gave me the option, or rather, he said, what I can do is we can share it to all the Frenzied. You guys will get early access to watch. And of course, for every one of the hosts, if you have a Patreon member who is not in the Frenzied group chat, you guys are going to get copies of the link to send out to your patron members as well as an exclusive early bonus.
Thank you, Ken.
For
that's
checking
cool.
out. Yep. Yeah, so
that's very cool.
History of Motu 1982, and it is awesome. I can't.
That's what you get for coming to Toy Frenzy Con 2023.
Right, we're going to get. There's a vacuum right now next year with no PowerCon 2024. Maybe we should be talking Toy Frenzy Con.
Wait, is it official that it's not happening?
Oh yeah. A couple weeks back, went live with Mega J, and we were sitting down with Val Staples. There is no PowerCon for 2024.
How come I didn't know that?
How come I didn't know? No one told me.
We talked about it.
When?
We didn't talk about it
backstage like a couple weeks ago.
No.
I could have sworn I brought it up. Well, I know you guys had heard.
Bobby and I were both like, no, you didn't tell us anything. Now I've got now I haven't. Hey, well, there's a good side of this. Now I have $10 extra to spend this weekend because that's about all I was able to save for PowerCon.
Well, you got to look at it this way.
Jeez, I'm not paying for that whatever that was.
So PowerCon,
the Studebaker, yeah.
PowerCon 2025 is what's going to happen. They couldn't get the dates that they were trying to get for next year.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, what he did was he just cut losses and said, "Okay, that's fine. We need more time to plan." Because Val talked about, as far as he's concerned, that he wants to uphold and bring PowerCon to everybody, and now he's really making sure that it's going to be more of, I can't remember his exact words as we were talking about it, but it's not just like it's a bigger show now than what it was. And it's certainly beyond just like Masters of the Universe and everything else. It's really become its own thing, especially for the indie toy developer. So because of that, they need more time to plan, they need bigger space, and that's what they're going to be working on. So we will be seeing PowerCon 2025.
All right.
But I'm excited for that, really.
More stage pyro, right? All kinds
right? Yeah, definitely more stage pyro. Maybe it'll flare up in my face.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. That gives me more. It gives me more of a chance to plan because I was thinking, I
agree.
Save up for the oil change for the Studebaker now.
Yeah, save up for the
save up for the oil pan for the Studebaker because when you get it, it's going to be leaking.
First thing we got to do
is
the
bed pan, so we don't have to stop off anywhere. But that's another story.
Oh, I got one of those already.
oh man, hey, you driving around with your shit.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I work at a hospital. Maybe I can pick up a couple of colostomy bags for you.
There you go. Thank you, Oz. Thank you, Oz.
There you go. Thinking about it, right?
I want to just do a quick shout out to Generation Retro. Thanks for being here.
Hey.
And also, Generation Retro is thinking about considering some of the Super 7 figures from the sale. if you all go over to Big Bad Toy Store, there's a pretty great sale happening right now with Super 7 stuff. I was really kind of tempted to get the glow-in-the-dark Toxic Avenger figure, but I'm still thinking about it. But now that PowerCon's not next year, I might just splurge on it.
Uh-oh.
Well, there you go. You'll have a little bit of extra money.
Yeah.
All right. So we've still got a couple people to get through here. Next up is the beautiful Dawning of a Decade.
Good to
she
see
is
you.
here joining us. Good to have you here, hon. And okay, so next was Generation Retro, and I think that does just about cover it. Oh wait, we got this weirdo. Speaking of extreme weird. No, wait, there's more. Emerald Knight
Emerald
photos.
Knight.
John is here with us. Great to see you, brother. Thank you. He was on last night with Mega J when they were talking about the He-Man.org coming down. We also have Jamie Sanders in the house with us. Payne's Toy Samples is now arrived. He is here. Bringing the pain. Oh, as Emerald says. Payne's is here now, so the party can get started. And Eternian Ellipse is here, and he's backing me up. See, I did bring it up. It may have been on my own show.
All the shows that you've been on, and he's probably getting them all mixed up. Probably saw you say
it's a possibility.
Because I don't remember it.
I was just going to say, you know what? That's probably a good possibility. Thought I was mentioning it here, but I ended up saying it in another one.
I remember shit, so I don't
Bobby and I are old enough that we can just say, nope, didn't happen if we don't remember it.
Well, here's the thing, right? Bobby remembers shit, and Skelly doesn't remember shit.
I don't even know how
so we become neutral.
There you go.
We cancel each other out.
They cancel each other out, and then it creates me who just doesn't know shit.
Right.
No, you know it all. And then we just sort of try to ride the wave.
Right. So, Generation Retro is mentioning he might grab the Toxie, Bachelor, and Captain Deadstar from the worst.
Yeah, they look really good, and they're at a really good price. I mean,
they are. It's an affordable price for Super 7. I will say that. You all know
$25 now. What? They're $23.99. Is that the sale?
No, this isn't some Walmart clearance. They're actually heavily discounted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're finally at the $20-something range when they were previously at the $50 range. So
when Big Bad Toy Store buys them for $3 a piece, they're still making their money.
That's sure.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
But either way, you can get some more reasonably priced and affordable Super 7. So, folks, if you've been hanging off and you were looking to get something, check out their clearance sale now.
Yeah, go over there.
Or if you really want to save money, don't buy them.
That's one way to do it. Spend your money on PowerCon 2025, where you'll be able to meet all of us.
Yeah,
that's right.
If I'm still around.
You're gonna be
Skelly looks right at the camera, you son of a bitch.
Where are you going?
You better still be around. You're my road trip buddy.
Oh, well,
right?
Hey, I can still drive by then, I think, and I still be able to.
Like you guys and Thanos got to come out this way. That's right. I just threw Thanos under the table into the bus. Not under the bus, into the bus.
Into the bus.
Into the Studebaker.
Yeah.
The Studebaker.
He could be back seat like Gonzo.
Up on the roof upside down.
Chicken.
Yeah, right. Oh shit.
Want to just HP Brown Sauce crap throwing us back to the Vampire's Kiss role-playing chat room from back when the internet was still in its early days. That's something.
There was a great vampire game that was on MySpace. Damn, I wish I remembered the name of it. But you can like upgrade your vampire every time you like do stuff. Oh, that was cool.
They had
MySpace.
Yeah,
that's a real throwback too.
Yeah.
There was a vampire game where it used to just be text blocks, right? Like it was a giant text block game, and you could move you had like action points that you could build up, and then like you moved like one square either diagonally, forward, straight back. There were vampire hunters that used to be able to take you, and there were regular civilians. Like if you went into a square with a civilian, you could drink their blood and all. It was this weird, crazy just like text in the grid block game. There was no graphics, nothing like that, and it was fun. I used to spend a couple hours playing on it.
Yeah.
So, well, speaking of things like chat rooms, right? That kind of pulls back into the He-Man.org conversation where,
Good one,
you know, the
Oz.
early days.
That was really
Right?
good.
Nice segue.
Yeah,
You see how I would do that? I'm learning, guys. I'm learning how to do this YouTube thing.
So when we go live, we need to do that. Oh, we are live.
Oh, we haven't.
Shit. So yeah, but you know, we went generationally through the internet together, and there used to be chat rooms, and then from chat rooms you got things like forums where everybody could gather, share ideas. And honestly, like, I spent so much time in He-Man.org, not again necessarily participating, but by the time I came across of it, it was just a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
I never
And
participated in
This
forums
is
or
an
chat rooms.
image. This is a mental image right here.
Yeah, I don't want to think of it.
This is what our old people's homes are going to feel like, people. All of us sitting there with our toys.
And the young nurse comes in. Oh, look at how cute the old man is with his toys.
Don't take my toy.
Yeah, right.
That's
Thanos
an
would be like,
original.
look at this. No, I'm just kidding.
I will
Original
definitely
half-boot Skeletor. Do you know what you're holding right there?
I'll be the old dude who's like, let me tell you about Beastman. Back when I was a kid, I never got to have one, but now that I got one, I'll just go on and on for hours.
I'd be like, I'm so fucking lazy. Just go watch our old shows on YouTube. Well, you'll understand where I'm from.
You want to? You know who I am? I had a show on YouTube.
That's right.
That's right. Bobby's just gonna say, "I'm good. How are you?"
Yeah.
I'm good, and you? As soon as somebody walks through the door, I'm good, and you?
I'd be like walking around in circles saying that.
Yeah, I'm good, and you? I'm good, and you?
Good, and you?
I'm good, and you?
Bobby, you need to take your medicine.
Don said it. I'm okay, and yourself?
There you go. Beautiful.
It's catching on. Got people commenting, remembering chat rooms, saying the Yahoo chat, and a lot of time trading cartoons in chat rooms. And then we've got this. So he's saying, let my wife in Yahoo chat rooms. And then he, of course, corrects himself. He met his wife.
Please, let my wife in Yahoo chat room.
Is that a new stand-up bit?
Let me in.
Another early thing that was on the internet that I was looking at a lot was called duty.com. Did you ever look at that?
No.
Oh man, it's like these little cartoons this guy was drawing. There's always like this guy would take a shit. Oh man, it's so funny.
Sounds like something that'd be on my live stream.
Well, there was like, there was like a family sitting down at the table and you could see the window, outside, and you see like this person walking around back behind. It keeps walking, it gets closer, and it's like this giant. He sticks his ass through the window all over the table. Oh god.
Oh my gosh.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, what is it called? Where the money is. Dick and fart
Did you say it's called doodoo.com?
Duty.
Duty.
I don't even know if it's that was like, I don't even know.
You guys remember dickdeath.com?
Well, the duty.com game is still around.
Is it?
Is it?
Call of Duty.
Oh, Call of Duty.
Sorry, Oz, what were you going to say?
I was just saying, if you guys remember stickdeath.com.
No.
The website with random cartoons of stick figures, like, killing each other. That was a lot of fun.
That sounds amazing. That sounds cool.
It was. It really was. Wait a minute. So apparently Bud's got our futures all written. So he'll be sitting on his porch yelling at the kids about vintage He-Man, but in reality he is holding Origins and
Let's not make fun of dementia.
That's true. Right. We really should. That's pretty rough. But then I'll be traveling the awesome verse, sucking the youth from my variants, so you can go to all the Legends cons. There we go. I'm jumping square to square. Sucking the blood to pixelated grid game.
That's like Bubba Hotep, but about toys.
Right. That's terrible. Yeah. Terrible.
The toy collections are easy target because they're just standing there, and here comes Oz sneaking into people's houses like a reverse Santa Claus, sucking the energy from people's toy collections.
He's removing all the glow in the dark.
All the AOLs.
Only the glow in the dark ones.
He's
only
sucking all the glow in the dark out of it.
Glow in the dark or some translucent plastic. I mean, I'm not as big of a fan of translucent plastic as I am the glow in the dark, but I do like me some translucent plastic.
Go far in the future that he'll look like Auto Man. Remember that show? He just glows.
Oh yeah, totally.
There we go.
So Oz, go on the Big Bad Toy Store and go look at
Give
that.
me the Toxie.
Go look at that toxic Avenger glow in the dark figure. It's gorgeous.
Almost wanted to get the NECA Mutagen Man one or is that one the Super 7? I don't know. They both got the license for
the Mutagen. No, yeah, the Mutagen Man is available, or Muckman. Yeah. Actually, Mutagen Man is there available, but Muckman is only available as part of the whole set. You have to buy the whole set, but it's still substantially discounted. So,
Muckman.
Yeah, he's man. The glow in the dark Muckman is phenomenal.
He's doing it now.
Oh, I get him like $21.99 on
I'm telling you,
eBay
it's a really good deal. Oh, on eBay. Oh yeah.
But it's the NECA one though. It's not
we're
the.
Just giving you a hard time, man.
Yeah.
We're just giving you a hard time. He's very sensitive, like you and me, Bobby. And the
I'm not sensitive. I could care less.
I think you have a little sensitivity there. And
I do have some sensitivity, but not much.
I think it makes you a
We're gonna have to sit you guys. We're gonna sit everybody down and go through some sensitivity training.
I think that would be good.
You know what? Yeah, we're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have a class in sensitivity training.
Yeah, the Slash figure looks pretty good over there too. Yeah, it's tempting. I haven't jumped into that. I haven't jumped over there yet to do that.
I'm really eyeing up this Muckman from Super 7 though. Not the NECA one, the Super 7 one.
You got your Modulok up there. That's awesome. That hasn't been up there previously.
No, I moved him because originally he's with Skeletor in Filmation, so I brought him over.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I had him on the Horde shelf in my other room, but I put him up here because originally he was with Skeletor since it's the Filmation version of him.
He's one of the best. Right. He's one of the best classics that there is.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he's gorgeous. I love him.
He's one of the best toys ever made.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Like hands down. He was doing the pop and swap with everything. Years before Origins was pulling that gimmick, which you'd figure we should probably have one by now, but they're gearing up for it. They're gearing up.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gearing up for it. It's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. I think Mattel seems a little distracted right now.
They do.
They're doing too much, in my opinion. I'd like to see them concentrate on finishing up the vintage figures from the Origin line.
Yeah.
Well, they will, and they're doing it as Mattel Creations exclusives, right? Like that's how they're going to be putting them out.
I haven't seen anything pop up.
Well, yeah, but we did see them at San Diego Comic-Con, didn't we?
I don't know. We'll see.
Rock on.
Yeah, that's true.
It's stuff that's coming for next year. They pretty much had their slate full for this year, so we can expect that from Mattel Creations next year.
Well, yeah, we're already halfway through November almost now.
If you're only looking at one figure per month, that's going to be kind of a slow burn. So, but
a figure per month
from Mattel Creations,
that's what they're going to do for Origins.
That's more than we've been getting. I would
love
that.
I mean, to finish off the line though, it doesn't seem like a lot.
But it feels like we've been waiting forever for new Origins figures to pop up.
For a while there, they were popping out a few of those creations a month though. It seemed like
no, they weren't doing a whole lot. Like they were only doing about one per month because you had what was
I'm talking about like this time last year. They were like popping them all out like crazy. It seemed.
Yeah. Well, it was like what we had Grizzlor in October because that's when we did our unboxing video. It was October. You had Frogmonger come out in November. Space Sumo was in December, and nobody gave a shit. and then they skipped a month, and we had He Skeletor in February.
Oh, was it that late?
Yeah.
I thought he was. I thought he was in December as well, but I guess I'm wrong.
Or maybe it was January.
Like it's all moving so fast.
Yeah,
it did move very fast, but
and
yeah,
slow
I mean,
at the same time.
They were only releasing about once per month. They were just shipping them out so quick.
It's like a snail on a skateboard, dude.
The snail on a skateboard. Mattel, snail on a skateboard. I think they're keeping us on our toes, is what they're doing. They're like, we don't want to, don't want there to be any way that they can, that our Masters of the Universe fans can predict what's going to happen when it's going to happen. And they just throw things out, and then they announce things, and they don't come out for a while. And it's just really, really hard for us to keep track. And I think that's probably a marketing plan so that they can keep the excitement going. You know what was exciting is I saw a snake mountain at a Target the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you actually found one in the wild. I've been seeing people post pictures, but I have not seen any in the wild. But that doesn't really surprise me though either, because like when I was going around looking for Grayskull, they didn't have any out here in the wild. Meanwhile, I was seeing other stores where they were stockpiled like 20 deep on a shelf.
Yeah, you know, at Target. Yeah.
I was like, there's not one around here. So
yeah, I'm with you, Thanos. I wish they would do a sign up thing. If they could learn a little bit from classics,
Matty Collector Days.
The Matty Collector Days.
Yeah, that would make sense.
You know, say what you will about Scott Knightlick, but that plan was a really good plan. It ensured that everybody would get the thing that they were paying for, and that they would all get it at the same time for the most part. And that was a really solid plan, where you have less people frustrated or angry about not being able to find something.
Yep.
Well, let's remember, I missed the wave on the whole Matty Collector thing. I didn't get it, but from what I heard, it didn't start out so smooth. But they definitely, over time, got it to a point where it was real good.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't do it either, Oz. So I would buy. You know, I would later on in the line when it was coming to a close, I'd buy a figure there. But
yeah, I did it for the Filmation ones. I started up the order online for those. Yeah.
Oh, as soon as those came on, I was like all on board for that 100%, because it was different from the vintage figures. You know, it was like what is you could have that version you never got to have. The big one for me was Merman.
Yeah,
that was like,
of course,
just so cool. So today's episode is themed extreme weirdness, and that's
weird.
What? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to break up.
No, that's all right. Oz, what were
I was just going to say we're all extremely weird, and that's the end of the show, guys.
Goes without saying. And thank you for being here.
I was saying we've already been weird this episode, so
yeah. Well, what I was going to say is that we don't really have to do much, because you look behind me, you look behind Bobby, you look behind Oz, like all of that, all of the stuff that we love, all the Masters of the Universe figures, all the Ghostbusters, for example, even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you fell in love with that too, but like GoBots, Mask, GI Joes, later waves, Star Wars, starting from the first wave of Star Wars. I mean, weirdos is what have made us who we are as
some weirdos like these little tiny World Smallest Action figures hanging around.
I mean, it's what keeps the world, for me at least, keeps the world revolving. And I feel like the weirder these things can be and are, keep me very happy. We went to Pismo. I haven't posted it yet, but I made a little video I'm going to post. But we went to Pismo Beach, which is a beach that's not too far from. It's like 2.5 hours away from where I live, and we went there, and we went to a couple of antique stores, and that's the first thing I look for. What kind of weird things can I see in this place? I mean,
besides the patrons.
Our patrons understand that. They're willing to pay us.
No, I'm saying the patrons in the store.
Oh, the patrons in the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, the patrons in the store are like, what is this guy doing?
No,
like,
I'm saying they're the weird ones.
Oh, yeah, they are. Me included. But also,
boy, that joke went nowhere fast.
I did. It was really confusing. It could be interpreted in a multitude of ways. And I started with like the furthest away interpretation from what you were trying to say.
Exactly.
But yeah. Oh, here we go.
Oh,
Oz. I knew they were. I knew they were watching.
Yeah, no
Not the Quebec police.
Nordiques were great.
That's really funny. Well, thank you for being here, and Oz, we'll see you later.
Bye, guys. Gotta run.
Just drop the name Ron Tugnut, and they'll leave you alone.
Or Ron Obvious.
Well, Ron Tugnut was the goaltender for the Nordiques for Quebec.
Oh,
and he had like in one game he had like 97 saves, so it was like the biggest thing that's ever.
Now, how do you spell Tugnut?
Tugnut, I believe.
There we go. I got a hashtag for everybody. Ron Tugnut for life.
There you go. Quebec will leave you alone.
That's right. But without the weirdness, we wouldn't be here. Is essentially where I was trying to go with all this. And
it's true.
And I am forever thankful for the creative minds that came up with all this weird stuff, and continue to do so. And I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about like let me preface this by saying there's a very good chance I might only be getting like one or two of these figures, but the more figures that keep getting the images keep getting released of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Masters of the Universe mashup figures, the more I'm thinking I want to give them a little bit of a high five, because they're not doing what people wanted them to do. They're going out on a limb with these things and doing some weird stuff that people weren't expecting to see. I don't really like a lot of it, but there's a couple of them that are like super weird, and that's what this is all about. Like, if you're going to come up with some new concepts by regurgitating old concepts, like go into a territory that even the fans are going to be surprised by. I was not expecting this. Yeah, exactly.
We were saying weeks ago, you got to take chances. You can't be scared to try something new, because it's the only way you're going to keep breathing life into something. Ninja Turtles is one of those lines that seemingly does it very well. About every decade or so, they reinvent themselves and keep themselves popular among the youth. Not just to people like us, because guess what? We get old and we die. So if we're the only ones that are passionate about something, it's gonna die. You gotta reinvent it. You gotta pass it down.
The fact that I'm really kind of like proud of them, to be honest with you, that they're not doing a Skeletor and they're not doing a He-Man, but they're doing a mutant He-Man, and like that to me is like, that's smart. That's messing with the system, and also like surprising us with a thing that by not releasing a thing that we thought they would release immediately, like a Donatello with a page boy haircut or something, right? And so they're surprising us with a different storyline. They're surprising us with some weird combinations of characters. I never thought I would see a combination of Faker and Slash. That's smart. How could I possibly have imagined that?
Well, like, it makes sense in the fact that he was like not just an evil clone of an individual Ninja Turtle, but he was like the evil Ninja Turtle kind of look, right?
Yeah.
So putting him with Faker makes sense, but yeah, I definitely didn't see it happening.
I wouldn't have been able to predict that. But the Moss Man is a good one.
I'm loving it. The Ram Man and the Moss Man, like, again, instead of mashing popular characters together, which is what I think everybody really kind of thought was going to happen with this, they're not. They're taking a completely different direction with it. And, we're seeing things like, okay, and it's kind of been teased in some of the card art, right? Shredder somehow gets his hand on the slime pit and uses it for the mutagen. Well, it makes sense because it was basically the same gimmick with the toys. And now we're seeing mutated Eternian heroes.
Yeah.
That's genius.
It's smart. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to get on board with it all, but they might be a figure I get here and there. Because it's
that Moss Man for sure.
The Moss Man, I even like the one that people don't really like, which is the Mutant He-Man. Like, I think that's a really cool one. The Krang one's cool. They're like there's some surprising imaginative weirdness going on, and so it'll be interesting to see how it evolves. I'm going to say it again, though. I wish they would pay some attention to finishing up the Origins line and get that done, but what can you do? I want an Origins Too Bad. He's like, I was doing a lot of thinking about Too Bad actually recently because of our last episode and talking to Matt from True Legacy Design and seeing that big Too Bad that he was working on. And I started thinking carefully about that character and how that character is almost like everything that you love about the villains is mashed into Too Bad. The weird colors, the strange textures, the expressive faces, the armor, the not armor, the animal, the anthropomorphic animal features. It's like all mashed into Too Bad. And I've never really, I don't know how I got into that mindset, and just by looking at the big one that he was working on, but Bobby, but I just I couldn't. I never really looked at Too Bad that way, as sort of an amalgam of everything that we like about the baddies. What I like about Mutant Mayhem line is that it kind of crosses over from not only the cartoon but also the art. I don't know. I mean, I'm not as familiar with Mutant Mayhem stuff, but I haven't seen the movie yet. But the figures are pretty cool.
Yeah, they are definitely amazing. As a matter of fact, shoot, does Connor actually watch this show or is it my show? God, I hope he doesn't watch my show. Well, certain somebody's getting a whole bunch of Mutant Mayhem for Christmas, so
I don't know who that was. Is that me?
Yes, it's all coming to you, Skelly, because I know you like all that weird shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen them at Target, and they're pretty cool. Like I like some of those
them. I really like.
I like the what's the fly character's name again?
Is it Superfly or something like that this time? Because it's not Baxter Stockman.
It's not Baxter Stockman, but there's a new fly character. It's like Baxter Stockman.
I'm pretty sure his name's Superfly.
He's pretty cool looking. They couldn't come up with something else.
I know, right.
We're talking about, look, we're all passionate about a freaking franchise whose main character is He-Man, and we're going to make fun of Superfly?
Yeah.
At least He-Man was an original name.
Yeah, Superfly. I think songs or something.
Superfly is a great movie. And so it's already something that's pretty, like, it's a pretty established and cool. But I not digging on it, but not digging at it. I guess. But yeah. What stands out in your minds, guys, about why the weirder things appeal to you?
Because they're different, right? Everything's just the same. It's boring. Sorry. It's just lame and it gets boring. So when something is odd or weird, not the norm, that's when I prefer something. Because I just like things that are different, unique, that stand out from everything else, and really set it apart. So like thinking back to the time when Masters Universe came out, right? Like you looked at the figures of the day, you had Kenner Star Wars, right? Like these tiny little stick figure toys for more or less.
I mean,
And
I mean, you look
3
at
points.
Walrus Man, he's super weird, but then you stand him next to Skeletor,
Beastman, anybody.
Beastman.
Like
it's like this
they're
is
so different.
amped up weirdness.
Right? Like this roided out freaking craziness that was going on in this toy line. And Mattel from the 80s was not afraid to take a chance at trying to put anything into a toy.
That's true.
Half the gimmicks we get in later toy lines were because Mattel had the balls to try it first.
Yeah, that is so true.
They're like, hey, let's go put this Sparky thing in the mouth of this freaking action figure so kids can run around and flick it at people. They'll shoot sparks. Like, yeah, that's a great idea. Give them everything but the fluid for a lighter. That's perfect.
Well, that was like, those types of, some of those gimmicks existed previous to Mattel, like the sparking mouth and stuff like that. But to put
we
them
had guns, guns
Cap-
that did a lot of that. Yeah,
yeah,
cap
the
guns
did
the
it, but not like a
guns.
action figure,
Yeah, because you had the gun and you would squeeze it, the trigger, and the thing inside would spin around and it would shoot out the side of the gun. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kids starting forest fires left and right.
Well, I had crazy Mikey that lived across the street from me. He was younger than I was, but he'd light fires all the time. So
oh man,
giving him purpose for that. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, run around with a freaking lighter and a can of hairspray all day. That was
he burned his house down.
Hey, coincidence. I mean,
he was looking at a porno mag underneath his bed with a lighter. So,
oh my gosh,
just looking at the last couple of pages.
Yeah.
He's got to live with that for the rest of his life.
Come on, baby, light my fire.
Oh man,
that's a true story, though. By the way,
so Turning Lips mentioning he doesn't like the idea of turtles being mixed in. One of those gambles. If it doesn't work, bad repercussions are sure to follow. I agree. It's one of those things that it can either tank a line or it can make the line succeed. We think of it from a perspective of we hold up the vintage and the original toys as a holy grail, and we don't want anything to tarnish that. Cool thing about this is if you don't like it, you don't have to pick it up.
That's true.
But what it could mean for the future of the line is everything.
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles is hot right now because of the new movie with Mutant Mayhem. Now you're doing a crossover with the properties that a lot of younger kids have never gotten exposure to. Oh, what's this He-Man thing that these Ninja Turtles are crossing over into?
I was going to ask, do you think they'll get it, though? Like, will they think that?
Well, if it shows up on toy shelves and it's right next to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which it currently is in Targets,
okay,
then there's a good chance, I think, somebody will be like, they see Mutant Mayhem Leonardo, and then right next to it they see Leonardo that's associated with the Masters of the Universe line, and then they're suddenly looking at Beastman, or they're looking at
They're going to go look at this Leonardo from Playmate Mutant Mayhem, and he's going to be puny.
There's a Masters there,
if it's still on the shelves.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Moving forward, Masters of the Universe is going to be different SKUs. It's not going to be the same SKU anymore. So you're not going to get the restock of the restock of the restock of the Jitsu line. That's not happening. They've changed up SKUs moving forward with the Filmation or cartoon line and the fan favorites that are coming out, right? So we're getting 2 fan favorites, 2 cartoons per wave moving forward in retail, in the stores. I've yet to see it around here, but people have posted pictures of it because they started moving out last week. They were street dated for November 1st. So moving forward, we will start seeing those newer figures back in stores. That's the hope, because we were supposed to see the figures in stores the whole time, and I never really saw mine.
Exactly. Yeah.
4 years in.
Yeah.
4 years. I mean, couldn't get it right.
It was like 1 year. Okay, we had them in stores like 1 year, and then it was the same wave in store after that for 3 years.
Well, I found Triclops wave at Target when it came out.
Well, aren't you lucky? Because I couldn't find
no,
that.
but I mean, from hearing everybody that didn't, it's just weird that how they do that.
It was just that distribution was god awful.
Yeah, I mean,
and
for a long time, yeah.
Well, those earlier waves were all messed up because of COVID anyway.
Well, I
because they
get
weren't
that,
letting
right.
ships in. And then once they finally did start hitting, we're like 4 waves deep. And, it was like, all right, we got 2 waves out in retail that I found at least out here.
Well, I'm going to have PTSD about this shit.
I know.
I'm seeing naked Stratos for the rest of my life, and my nightmares are going to be sitting in old
Jitsu
people's
and
home
naked
crying.
Stratos.
Remember 15 years ago when we couldn't find the
and he
damn
was
toys?
naked and there were wings, and they're going to be like, what the hell was this guy into? Toys.
It's true, though. We're all going to have that sort of that memory. And in fact, I think like it might later on down the line be a fond memory, because a lot of people have fond memories of running across some of those stragglers at the end of the original Masters of the Universe line that no one was buying. They ended up being for sale, put on sale at KB Toys, and so we could have naked Stratos and Jitsu could be like the most collectible figures for all we know in the future, like Scareglow and Mosquitor, for example.
Right, the shell formers that nobody wanted, and now they're the ones that everybody strives to get.
Exactly. Naked Stratos, I'm predicting it now. So go out and buy them all.
But I definitely agree with the Turning Ellipse. They're spending a lot of money on new tooling, right? Because there's one thing about this Ninja Turtles line, aside from that turtle shield that's every character seems to come with, there's not a whole lot of shared parts or reuse. So all of this stuff that's coming out is all new tooling budgets. I mean, there's a couple, like I know Allison had mentioned some shared parts with the Mossman and the Demogorgon Stranger Things crossover. So, I mean, there is always that, but it could be one of those things where if this line doesn't do so well.
I'm laughing because Skelly's laughing. I don't know what the hell he's laughing about.
I'm only laughing. I'm not laughing at what you're saying, Oz. I'm just laughing because like we are, our fandom is so powerful that everything is a concern, and I think where Oz is going with this is like, it's better to have something new than just regurgitating the old stuff, and then having that just die off. So it's a risk, but I think it's a good risk to take. But I'm also laughing because it's who knew any of this stuff would ever be a concern.
Right. I certainly didn't think that by the time I was getting into my 40s, I'd be worried about Masters of the Universe. And
I had no clue, not even an inkling that I'd be worried about. I mean, I just going back a couple of years now, I had no idea that I would be concerned about a giant Rancor monster being released through Hasbro, or that I'd get to see a chubby Bib Fortuna be killed by Boba Fett. Like, I had and then to even push it even further, like, had no idea that I would have a new Castle Grayskull up here and a new Snake Mountain up here. Like, it's just mind-boggling. And so and I'm laughing at myself because here I am complaining, oh, but give us the rest of the Origins vintage figures. Yeah. It's like, like, what else? What else can I be asking for? It's like, it's all miraculous, really. It's like,
who would have thought 3 years ago when they started rolling out this line that they'd actually be even this close to finishing vintage, period, right? I thought it was going to be a lot like that 25th anniversary commemorative stuff where it was all like, here you go. Here's a couple of, waves. They didn't do the whole vintage with that.
No.
We just got bits and pieces.
Yeah. I mean,
I really kind of thought that's what Origins was going to do. I didn't think we were going to come much further than like that first year and a half.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't though. I kind of figured they were getting into something big because they took all the licensing and everything from Super 7. And they talked about that, saying that Mattel's going to get into something big with Masters. So I kind of figured it was going to be something long term. That's why I always said it was going to be a 5-year plan. And I've said that for a long time now.
Yeah.
And now this is the 4th year now. So yeah, 1 more year at least.
Well, because they knew they had to introduce something new to keep the line going while they tried to get the rest of the tooling done for the more intricate characters like Rio Blast and all like that have a lot more individual tooling. So they had to play some kind of a long game. Of course, they really, really spammed the hell out of all the reuse stuff like fast.
Yeah.
But I mean, it really makes sense.
The reuse stuff was a big thing in the vintage line. But like, I have a Mr. T back here. Like, I mean, that's crazy to me. I never thought
Mr. T bag. What?
Mr. T-Bag.
What'd you say?
Takes me back to my video game days.
Mr. T-Bag. What the hell's Mr. T-Bag?
A new slush head. I mean, this is
a really cool slush head too.
This is really crazy, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, do you ever? And I sometimes think like this is a
we'll find Bigfoot first.
What's the name of that? I know, but then we're seeing UFOs. We're seeing more UFOs. We're gonna see more Bigfoots. It's like
2 of them right down here.
I mean, I'm seeing Meal Squad French fries at Target on sale for $5.99. Like,
Skelly always finds the deals.
I'm getting crazy stickers that look like this. Oh,
here's another thing.
Plug.
I never thought there would be a Vampira available. Like, that's insane. Right? That's insane to me.
Or a Svengoolie.
Or a Svengoolie. And just so happens that Vampira shows up on the shelves right around the same time that I'm like rewatching the Ed Wood movie. And
well, we were talking about that a while back. The Zeitgeist
I know. I mean, it's just so.
Well, it's like when I posted that Lobo, the first appearance of Lobo. That's the day that the creator fucking died, and I posted that, and I didn't even realize. And then I found out that he died. I'm like, what the hell?
I killed
the guy.
That's that's the extreme weirdness, is that we're living in an era that it's like totally mind-boggling that all this stuff is available and around us, and it's all weird. It's all weird stuff. Yeah. And it's, who could have imagined that we'd be living in an era like this where you're like, oh, I better, that I'm seeing like dozens of interesting things I better hold back. 10 years ago was like, I see one interesting thing, got to grab it. because that one interesting thing is like
that was all you had.
That's all you could hold on to. Or classics, for example, is like you of course if you were smarter than me, you subscribe to something like that, so that of course you would get that golden nugget every month of nostalgic goodness. And I mean it's a crazy time. So yeah.
Man, the day I took Rick and Morty off.
We were like,
thanks for coming, everybody.
That tangent just
drop the mic. Done.
Yeah, exactly.
What does Chevy Chase say in Christmas Vacation? Holy shit, hallelujah.
I need a Tylenol.
I need a Tylenol. That's how I feel right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, where's the Tylenol? Yeah.
Where's the Tylenol?
Yeah, I wouldn't be more surprised if I woke up next morning with my face sewn to the carpet. That's the best line.
Attorney in Royalty has joined us this evening. Good to see you, Mike.
Good to see you.
He says, walking down the toy aisle is a flashback to the 80s, 90s. It's TMNT, G.I. Joe, Motu, and Star Wars all over again. And ain't that the truth?
Yeah, I hate
some of them.
I don't like Ninja Turtles because I worked at Toys R Us at the time, and I had crabby ass grandmothers and parents asking me to go look in the back and pull out the figures and shit. And I was just
go find that Ninja Turtle that I want. Not the pizza tossing one, the other one.
Yeah,
you've got some PTSD from that, and that's understandable. Yeah. I have that kind of relationship with some of the blockbusters that came out in the mid to late 90s when I worked at movie theaters.
Yeah.
And I just can't watch them, you know what I mean? Because of the experience of being inundated with the crowds. And
I've had some weird, because I worked at the movie theater too, and I used to be a manager at one back in the early mid 90s. And I remember there's one person coming up to me and saying, they're watching Pulp Fiction. They're like, I think something's wrong with the movie. You guys put it together wrong. I was like, why? And they're like, well, because John Travolta died, but then he's alive again at the end. I was like, well, then you're not paying attention to the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Clearly, you missed a couple things. But
and then I had another guy coming out, and they were watching, what was that? What's that movie? Schindler's List. And the guy walks out. He's like, man, this movie's in black and white. I'm like, and the problem is?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
On top of some weird shit that I've seen there, but yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah. There's always the weird shit at the movie theaters. Ace is saying that they're at a movie theater right now.
All right, are we on the big screen? Is that what's happening?
Yeah,
we were selling.
Are you watching us? Wait, have we hit the big screen now?
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
It's ripping us off. We're not making any royalties on it,
right?
Ace, we need our percentage.
That's right.
Not inside.
Actually, can I just say,
don't buy the popcorn.
Actually, I was going to say, can I just say how brave Ace is to pop out her cell phone to watch Toy Frenzy in the
movie? Maybe the movie sucks and we're more interesting.
I hope so. That would be great.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'd watch this movie every day if I could.
Yeah.
Well, darn tootin'.
Actually, I can now for 65 days straight, starting tomorrow.
There you go.
You rewatch every episode.
True. Actually, 66 because of the Frenzy Thanksgiving episode.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right. And let's see,
because that wasn't numbered.
That one wasn't numbered, and neither was the.
Oh, but we do have a couple. It still makes.
The Eternia special was a Toy Frenzy thing, and
that was on your channel.
Yeah, it was one of the first things I did.
Which, if you go to my YouTube channel, you can find them all on my playlists.
That's true. Go help Bobby's watch hours.
You can find them all on my playlist.
That's right.
So
I love Groucho.
Real quick here.
I love him.
Wanted to put Terrence up saying he's got to stop going to Tossed, which then we found out was actually Ross.
What?
So he keeps buying McFarlane DC and Marvel Legends for $5.99. Now, is this something you guys been seeing across any of the channels that you follow? Is that people are going crazy at Ross, and I think you guys on the West Coast have DDs. We don't have them here.
We have DDs and we have Ross over here. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we got some Ross out here. Not many. There used to be more. Now they're a little bit more limited. Like I got to actually travel some to get to them. But you know, just kind of like how we got like a bunch of Ollies and stuff out here buying those liquidation deals, and then you got like Marshall's, Burlington Co. Factory, places you would never think to go into and shop for toys.
It was like in the 80s. That's how it was back then.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
Getting all these insane clearance deals, right?
Yeah.
And I know, was it a couple of weeks ago? I think it was Articulated. Well, it's Chad now, not Articulated
It's Chad,
Chad,
yeah.
but it's Chad had posted a picture talking about the Hasbro stock plummeting and Ollie's stock going up. What do you guys feel? I know this isn't like in the realm of weirdness per se, but since it was brought up in the chat, I wanted to touch on it because we haven't quite talked about it. How do you guys feel about, what do you think this is showing to the companies, right? Because when the companies see us going crazy buying the product at places like that, right? But we're not paying that full price, like playing clearance chicken, as a lot of people do, like holding off to wait till it goes on clearance and then buying it, which we know can kill a line because then the companies say, well, nobody's buying it. Well, it's not that nobody's buying it. It's that nobody's buying it at the price y'all are putting it out there for.
Super 7.
Wait until clearance. And reaction figures
shame
like
on
they
you guys.
should be. $10 for reaction.
Don't
like
make me
it should be.
Don't make me get into this again.
I will grab my cane and shake it at you.
I can't tell you what I bought, but I bought something from, because my dad, if he happens to watch this, which he won't, but if he happens to for some reason, I got him a gift. I got him a reaction gift, and he doesn't know what it's going to be. But
is he watching the show? Turn it off.
Never in my life did I think I would be buying an action figure of this particular character.
I get what you, I know you've said this before.
It's
times.
Well, yeah. That to me is like mind blowing, and then that's why it's worth the $20.
No, I get it. I'm just teasing you, man.
It is like,
but I get what he's saying too.
Yeah. I get both sides actually. I totally understand that. That's like.
Well, you got to think though. A lot of people who are buying toys are buying a lot of them. So they're not just picking out one line; they're buying tons of shit.
Most folks.
So when you can find a deal, you're gonna jump all over it. Say, "Oh, I didn't get these figures because I haven't thought about them because I wanted to get these. Oh shit, these are $5.99 a piece. Fuck, I'm gonna go buy them a bunch now."
Yeah.
There's even some people that are only collecting one line. Right? Like, okay, I've started to dabble into a couple of different things, but even like a year ago when I was still only really doing Origins and Masterverse, but I wasn't doing Masterverse as like getting all of them. I was only getting the new Eternia.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But if I found a Masterverse figure that was like on sale for $13.99 or whatever, like the Tila figure when she dropped in price and went on clearance, grabbed her, snatched her up real quick because I was like, you know what, that's a good looking figure for $13.99, not for $21.99, but for $13.99. I'll grab it. So, like playing clearance chicken with most of these, just waiting for them to load up shelves and then go on clearance. Do you think we have more of a chance of, again, harming these lines that we're trying to collect? Or is it a way of having almost a demonstration to the toy companies like, look, guys, you guys are charging this price and we don't agree with it, but we're going to show you how much we love the product by buying it in mass when we can get 2 or 3 figures for the price you're selling one.
I would be genuinely surprised if the companies are thinking that much into it, because I think what happens is the stuff that doesn't sell as much, and that probably varies depending on what part of the country you're in or what store you're going to, but like the stuff that doesn't sell, it ends up at Ross or DD's and or Ollie's, and I don't know if that actually reflects anything, because
they're not stupid. They go in knowing what they're going to sell. They know what their price is going to be. They know what their goals are. Then they'll probably overproduce is that just in case, and then whatever doesn't sell, they're still going to make their money off of it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you know, unless it's like a very big dip, like no one's buying it at all, then you know that's something to worry about.
You know
Right.
what
Well,
was
because
the
it's true. It's not like when we pay Walmart for the figure, Walmart takes a cut and then sends the rest of the money to Mattel, right?
Right.
yeah,
Walmart buys from Mattel and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
now their inventory. It's not
Yeah.
Mattel's inventory
Right.
anymore. And
The
then
thing. Sorry, go ahead.
well, I was going to say, then for Walmart to clear out their warehouse, which is how we're basically finding Clamp Champ and Ram Man and Battle Armor He-Man and Battle Armor Skeletor 2 years later now at places like Ollie's. You know, because
Yeah.
Ollie's is going around and buying whatever crap was left at Walmart.
It's really paradoxical. So this is the part of me that feels like it's us trying to make sense out of chaos. And the reason why I say that is because of Jitsu and Naked Stratos.
Yeah.
They only go on sale rarely for a short period of time for $12.99. I've seen them, and then they're still there. And then they return to regular price, and they're still there. No one is gathering them up and taking them to Ollie's or Didi's or Ross. And so it's a really weird plan. And I think that we're just trying to make sense of maybe no, it actually fits with the theme because this is extreme weirdness. It makes it like we're trying to create logic out of this totally sort of oddball plan that I don't even think there may not even be a plan, maybe. And so, I mean, here's another example. Deluxe Buzzsaw Hordak and Battle Armor He-Man showing up out of the blue at Targets.
Just randomly at Targets,
every
right?
single Target I've been into in the last 3 weeks have had the same two Battle Armor He-Mans and two Buzzsaw Hordaks at regular price. I was like, I will grab that Buzzsaw Hordak as soon as it goes down to $10, but you know, it's not on sale. It shows up out of nowhere. It's not on sale.
Same thing happened like a year and a half ago with Clamp Champ and Ram Man, right?
Yeah.
They came out. Those were the first two deluxe figures that hit shelves.
Yep.
I never saw them. I didn't see anything but Skeletor and He-Man. You know, those deluxe figures. And then it was like, man, I really wish I could get my hands on those guys. And then it was like about a year afterwards, suddenly there was Mosquitor and you know, Ram Man and Clamp Champ started popping up again, like well after they were supposed to be off the shelves and done with. It was like, where the hell did these all come from? It's because like they're finding pallets of this stuff in the back of their distribution centers, and they're like, oh shit, we still got these. We got to get them out to the stores.
Yeah, right.
The other
it's
thing,
literally part of it.
And the other thing is that I'm suddenly seeing Battle Armor He-Man, the Masterverse figures show up at Targets, and I still haven't seen Web Store or, you know,
right,
any number of these other figures that have never shown up. And so
Mike's bringing up the Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I mean, it's paradoxical. It doesn't. It feels like we're trying to make sense out of a thing that is almost in almost purposefully like an anarchy. Like it doesn't feel like there is a rule or regulation applied to it. It's just surprise. Here's a Snake Mountain at a Target. No other, and it's in the sports section, by the way.
Well, it's because that's where like their big box items go.
Yeah, it was probably. Just, you know, it was by itself and super strange. So, and at the same time, you have what seems to be even and regular distribution of the Mutant Mayhem figures, perfectly perfectly set up on the shelves, all the characters available, and it's paradoxical.
It's a different company. It's Playmates.
Mm-hmm.
There was also this big media push with the new movie, right? So when you have something like that, they come out, and again, you guys remember a couple years ago when they were doing like the big box gondola style displays and everything like that, right?
Yeah.
So with Mutant Mayhem, you had a small section in the toy aisle, right? And then you had like the end caps and the little like box style gondolas for the middle of the floor. Well, as time has gone on and those have sold down, they do take all those figures off of those things, of course, as we know, and they put them somewhere. Most of the time, it's either in the back in their bins, and then they bring them out and refill as time goes on. And there's been a steady stock since the beginning that hasn't really sold out.
That makes sense.
Because what people are struggling to find now is like the Wave 2 stuff, right? All the stuff that I've seen in stores has all been Wave 1 stuff. I haven't seen any of like the second wave villains that have come out, or like Mondo Geckos are coming out now, and was it Napoleon Bonafrog? He's coming out. So like you're starting to see like these guys in some places where they've sold through a lot, places where they haven't sold through much, you're not seeing a whole lot of that.
Napoleon Bonaparte? Is that what you said?
That's what I was going to say. That's why I was laughing. It sounded like you were about to say that. It was a Bonaparte.
There was a
Napoleon Bonaparte.
There was a band in Fresno back in the late 90s called the Napoleon Blonaparts.
Yeah,
I always thought that was a pretty good name for a band. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right, Oz. I mean, that's exactly the system for some companies. I think we're trying to figure out why Mattel's all weird with this stuff, but I don't think we'll ever find the answer. There will be somebody in our chat is going to make a documentary. It's probably going to be Ace, and they're going to make a documentary about the chaos of Mattel distribution in the early 2020s.
I would say one of the employees will probably come out and start talking.
I hope so.
Well, I mean, really what it is, again, I don't really blame Mattel's distribution. There's this disillusionment that Mattel distributes to individual Targets and Walmarts, and that's why they're not getting to the stores. That's not how it works. Mattel sends distribution to Walmart and Target distribution centers, and that's where they go.
Yeah, you're right, and so that's the dilemma there, or the confusion there is, if they're going to that, if they're all going to the same location where the Playmates figures are going, for example, then it still doesn't quite add up why there's a strange
but there's no that wouldn't make no sense either, though, because where are all the Trapjaws and Scarecrows? Where are those sitting? You know what I mean? And like Big Bad Toy Store was getting those international cards instead of the regular American versions, selling to us here in the States.
Also, I want to know why I'm not finding the Funko Pop Grimace with the Santa cap anywhere. Like, where? Come on, Funko. Where's the Grimace with the Santa cap?
Maybe got to order from Funko Direct. But
these are like first world. I'm laughing because these are like first world problems, right? It's like we are in this like incredibly miraculous state, and our concerns are this super weird thing. Like, why are there too many naked stratos?
And just all of us talking during like COVID time, and we're sitting there bitching that we can't find Beast Man and Man at Arms, while everybody else can't find fucking toilet paper. Come on.
Exactly.
Well, and again, a big part of that goes down to that SKU issue. Like with waves 1 through whatever, again, it's He-Man and Skeletor were a SKU, and then Assorted was the rest of the SKU, right? So they were first off, distribution was poor and jacked up due to COVID. Comes in and sells out real quick to everybody. And there's a lot of places they never made it to. Then they're like, okay, well, this is a hot SKU. Let's order more of this SKU. So they do. And when that happened, guess what wave it was? Jitsu. Because the next wave is not a new SKU. It's the same fucking SKU. We're going to order a whole bunch of this, and it's going to distribution, or rather shipping into the US has finally gotten better at this time, right? Everything's kind of opening up. We're getting back to that normalcy. It all comes in, and then boom, floods everywhere. And we're all like, yes, we can get masters. And we bought them all. And then we waited for more masters, and they never showed up because it was all the same wave that got restocked a billion times when everything was hot and flying off the shelves during COVID as quick as it came in because distribution was messed up.
Which goes back to Mattel's problem by putting the same SKU on everything.
Again, we're trying to nail
That's
down,
just common business, though,
we're
right? Like, that's how it's always done.
Yeah.
Like, that's nothing new. That's how it's always been done.
Yeah.
I asked, I asked where Grimace with the Santa cap is, and Thanos said in a dumpster, and Terrence St. John said in a landfill. And they're probably right, but that makes me sad because Grimace with the Santa cap is pretty cute. But I think Oz, you definitely know the way it works, and I think that's you're probably 100% right. But at the same time, the only thing that is confusing is that we see differences in the way other toys show up on the shelves than
exactly.
we do. Yeah, so it's like it makes sense. Like the whole COVID thing makes sense. The stuff on the pallets makes sense. The moving things in and out of the stores makes sense. Moving stuff into clearance is weird because you know sometimes things are clearance that are brand new. Like what was it that I got recently that was clearance? It was something that was like it was brand new. It was one of the Masterverse figures. What was it?
I thought you got Too Bad clearance, didn't you?
No, I got Too Bad at regular price. But what? Oh, it doesn't matter. I could sit here and look at and wonder. And that's the other thing too. Like I how could there's been so much stuff that I can't even remember what that is. But like it's still paradoxical how these things work out.
Well, think about the other lines that you see similar trends in, though, and who they're selling to versus who's buying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you walk down the action figure aisle and you go look for like the little kids Marvel toys or whatever like that, the ones that are made like more toyetic, like some kind of action gimmick, or even Star Wars stuff per se, right? You look at like the Mission Fleet stuff, or not the Mission Fleet, Galaxy Adventure stuff or whatever it is. It's the one that's designed for little kids, right? You walk down the toy aisle, you can find all the Star Wars stuff for that. You can find all the Star Wars stuff for the cheaper Marvel figures and everything like that. It's meant more for the little kids, right? But what don't you see sitting on the shelf? You don't see a lot of Marvel Legends figures as far as, and again, this is the trends I see at several different Walmarts and Targets in my area. I can't speak for what's not in my area. I'll walk in and I'll see a whole bunch of the Black Panther stuff still sitting on the shelves for Marvel Legends, but only like the same characters. I'm not seeing like certain ones. Everything else is all the stuff that's meant for the kids, the younger kids. Same thing with a lot of the DC stuff. Same thing with a lot of Transformers. All of these lines, well, definitely with G.I. Joe. All of these lines are designed for or what's more thought of as the adult collector line. I see the same trends across all the adult collector lines that I see with Masters of the Universe, but you don't see it with the little kid stuff. Different market. We buy what we want, and then when we don't want it anymore, we stop buying. Right? We're not going to buy a billion buzz-offs. We only need one.
Right.
Maybe a couple more if we get into customizing and we want an army of Adrenids, right? We're not going to buy a crap ton of Stratos unless we're going to army build Avions, right? But little kids, that stuff is always stocked because they can only get like toys once or twice a year, because they don't have the money to go in and buy.
Right.
We buy for the kids. Yeah, I mean, again, these are just the trends that I see, and having been in retail for a very long time, knowing how the SKUs work and everything like that, it's just one of those things. Like, it's a crap system that does not cater to us, because in the end, we are not the end all to be all of the toy world like we'd like to think.
Well, I will go on record to say it's fascinating to me, but I honestly don't care that much because of this one thing. I found that the figure that I want to get will somehow make its way to me.
It will. You'll make it happen, right?
I'll either order it online, I'll find a way to get it, or it'll suddenly show up and it'll be a nice price, and I'll get it. And it might take months, it might take a year,
but you'll get it because you want it.
The part that is of concern to a lot of people is due to the sense that we've got to be the fear of missing out, the sense of immediacy, and that's why it's such a concern. The truth is, like Oz is saying, it's this, all the toy lines and all the distribution is probably the same. It's probably only weird for Masters because of the fans buying stuff, and
it's weird for Masters for this right here.
Yeah, I've said that before. The kids aren't out there buying.
Kids aren't buying He-Man.
No, they've never had.
Kids have no idea
unless
He-Man
your kid is
an adult collector line.
Unless you have a kid that the parent is a He-Man fan already.
Like me. The only reason Connor knows anything about He-Man is because of me.
It's like my friend Bob. He has 2 kids, and they got into Masters a lot, but that's because he was a Masters Universe fan.
Yeah.
But the average person that's out there who doesn't ever played with Masters or whatever, and they have kids nowadays, they're not going to go run out there and grab one. No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And quite a few of us have already had kids, right? Like, okay, Connor's pretty young because I didn't have a kid in my younger years. I waited until I was 30. So, like me having him, whereas a lot of other people around my same age were having kids quite a bit younger, in like their early 20s, right? So there's like a whole generation of kids where He-Man just wasn't around. Now He-Man's popping up and getting more popular, running 2 Netflix shows for quite some time. But there was no commercialization of that to appeal to the kids, right? You tried to kickstart a new He-Man cartoon to get kids interested, but who was promoting it? Nobody but us.
Right.
We were the ones talking about the CGI He-Man. I didn't see anything else out there promoting it. Maybe
it was like me with Twitter. I was out there and I was putting out all the new figures. I was, mentioning all this new stuff coming out. Mattel's Twitter account was nothing. Masters Universe account, nothing.
Honestly,
they just relied all of us toy fans to go out there and spread the news.
I think Mattel has
too.
I gotta say, Mattel and their Masters social media accounts, some of the most piss poor social media people I've ever seen.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Social media is one of the biggest ways to truly grasp and advertise, get yourself out and amongst the people. I swear to God, Mattel's people are like afraid.
Yeah.
Like completely afraid. And I get it though, because you guys remember that Ask Me Anything About Skeletor?
Yeah.
Like if y'all looked at what that was on Reddit. He was like, yeah, let's do an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. And like one of the very first comments on the post was all like, I I do this little thing watching you and other. I'm like, wow, okay. And that's why people don't do this stuff.
Yeah.
Hasbro, I think, does a much better job getting into the social media, using the social media to their advantage. I don't think Mattel understands how to. Like, their social media division is awful. So they do depend on influencers, as people are called these days.
Yeah.
People like GDL and Pixel Dan, like all of these, they literally depend on them to kind of drop and push the stuff out to the fans, as opposed to utilizing their social media like they should. They could definitely do a lot better if they optimize their social media, and they could have a presence out there in the youth of today.
Yeah. Yeah, they would. I had a lot of people coming up to me on Twitter asking me if I actually worked for Mattel because I did so much of the pushing of the toys, and I got sick of it after a while. Just not doing it no more.
Right? Because you realize you're doing all this work for them, but
Yeah,
you're
well,
not
I'm
getting
not. I didn't
compensated
care
in
about the
any
work.
way.
Well, I didn't care about that, but I was like, now there's thousands of people out there doing the same thing. It's like more power to you now. I'm done.
Right?
I want to go back to two things that the first one was Radical Toys saying, I'm worried once our generation dies off, the brands could disappear. These toy companies better have a great idea to come up with the brands like Motu, G.I. Joe, etc. Well, my reaction to that, Radical Toys, is that these pieces of plastic are just going to get a little wonky over the years, but they're going to be around forever.
Yeah.
Unless a comet hits the planet and melts everything, and then people who survive have to start completely new. The ideas present in Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, My Little Pony, Barbie, all these things, even if they die off, some kid is going to go to some antique store in the year 2152 and hover over there in their Jetson spacecraft, and they're going to find a little a sticky and messed up merman, and they're going to be inspired, and they're going to bring it back. It's never going, as long as these things are made out of plastic, it'll always come back. And the companies will be around, maybe in different forms, but the companies will be around ready to glom onto it. And it may not be a plastic version of it that they come up with in the future, but it might be something different, like that movie we've always wanted to have. And we finally get it in 2152. So
when I die, I can give a shit if it lasts anymore.
Well, I'm telling you, the main concern should be like, for those of us that collect toys, what's going to happen to these pieces of plastic after we die, and how are we going to ensure that they go somewhere special? And that should be our main concern, because these characters are powerful enough, no pun intended, to last forever. Even if Mattel goes out of business, someone is going to see that. Someone's going to see this somewhere and be like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And they're going to reinvent it or give it new life. And that's what's so cool about artifacts.
Yeah, because a lot of kids nowadays aren't really playing with toys either.
Yeah, but
they're doing more video games, and, or whatever.
It depends. Again, it really depends on what. Okay, so let's face it, right? If kids aren't playing with toys, that's because we're not teaching them. We're not getting them toys.
Well, kids don't go out and buy their own. I'll tell you, I bought my son tons of toys. I bought him those fucking turtles, which I can't stand. I bought him all kinds of stuff. Tron, when the movie was coming out, I bought him all kinds of toys. He played with them a little bit, but him and his friends always went upstairs and played video games. That was it. They didn't
We're
care
Who bought
about
them? Who bought them the video games?
this
I
is
had
gonna
to. I mean, him. Well, they also share each other their games.
I get that,
Or
right?
a lot of stuff was online too,
Well,
where they would go
so-
in and online and stuff.
I'm gonna
I'm not
say
saying that I can't say no. You're not going to play with that. You're going to play with the toys I bought you.
Right.
That's not good. I can't do that.
the other
No, of course,
other
right?
thing-
You don't want to, but
Right.
the other thing we got
what
to
it comes down to is, and I've said this a lot, kids don't buy their own stuff. We do, right? If you
Right.
want a kid to play with their toys and their imagination, there's just a couple things you can do different. Limit screen time. You don't have to let a kid stay on the screen all the time.
Oh no, I know
Kick the
that.
kid outside, right? How did we all, we talk about kids back in the day, you weren't allowed to stay in the house all day and play. We kick
we
kids
never wanted
outside,
to.
right?
I never wanted to stay.
Right, because there
I
wasn't
always
nothing to
wanted
do
go
in the house all day
Right.
when we were kids, right? But kick the kids outside. Let them go run around outside.
Yeah, but-
Make them.
But when you're living in Arizona, you can't do that.
Okay.
Because it's 115 degrees out in the summer. I'm not going to have my son running around outside all day long at 7 years old.
Sure.
Well, here's the other thing too. Here's the other thing too. We gotta we're old fogies, right? We got to put ourselves in check a little bit here because those kids, just like we were experiencing with our parents. We thought our parents were crazy when they were suggesting things to us.
That's what I was about to say too.
And we're we really don't. We can suggest interesting things to them that were interesting to us, but they've got to take the reins on it.
Right.
They do.
And they're and then they're going to take that information and they're going to do their own thing with it. And something that's interesting to me is I don't remember what it was, but we were talking about it about a month ago or something in the household, and our youngest was mentioning a nostalgia for a particular video game. I think it was a video game. It was something, but we can't discount the nostalgia of that people might attach to something we don't understand.
Right.
Like I don't understand the nostalgia for devices, but kids these days will have that, and that will form. And they're going to have kids, and they're going to be like, "Man, I learned so much from Animal Crossing when I was a kid. How come you don't want to play Animal Crossing?" to their kids, and it's going to go on and on and on like that.
Of course.
The other thing too is that plastic is not going to be around. Manufacturing stuff, toys with plastic, is probably going to be obsolete in the next 50 years or 100 years because it's not very good. It's not a good thing to do. And because it's using petroleum products, and who knows what they'll create to replace it. But it's also, we got to be careful about having expectations on the future generations if something that we're holding on to might eventually be obsolete. And we've got to be okay with it eventually being obsolete.
Well, because now we're sounding like old men. You're like, back in the day, our shit was better than your stuff.
Exactly. And we can't do that.
Like, you listen to my grandfather, oh, you should be collecting baseball cards.
Yeah.
Or you should be playing with a top or one of those paddle ball things.
And who are they to say, right? It's like, it's the same thing if somebody says you're raised in a household and everybody watches. Like for me, I was partially raised in a household where people loved to watch sports, and I was never interested in it. But the language wasn't friendly when I wasn't interested in it. Yeah. They were telling me that I was weird for not being interested in it. But if I say the opposite, then if I say, to my kids that they're weird for not being in the Masters of the Universe, then I'm doing the same thing that my parents or my family would have done to me. So we got to be really careful about how we project our loves onto
that's
others.
the same with music or anything. If my parents were into Beatles, Rolling Stones, or the Bee Gees, I don't like the Bee Gees or nothing, and I'm not going to sit there and listen to it because they did.
And they're not going to understand the Ramones.
Right. I'm going to go find my own stuff.
Exactly.
That's why I was like that with my son. He wanted the toys. I bought them for him, but he never really played with them.
Yeah.
He just liked them. I think he was more like me because he liked to collect stuff.
Yeah.
And I went out and he's like, oh, I want that. I want that. I want that. I was like, okay, let's go get it. because I knew what it was like to not have stuff when I was a kid. So I go get
Sure,
it. He would
you
play
bought
with
him
it for like
everything you wanted.
he would play with it that day, but then all the shit sitting like he was like that with the Mattel wrestlers for a little while with the WWE stuff. You know, I was going out and I bought him like 30 wrestling figures, you know, and then all his friends would go upstairs and play.
Well, that brings up another thing too, which is, you know, when I hit my teens, I was suddenly not interested in G.I. Joe and Masters of the Universe and Star Wars for a brief period of time. Then I get into my, you know, late 20s and suddenly I'm like, ooh, I want to be thinking about this again. My parents had no clue that I would ever return to it. They just thought he liked it once and now he doesn't like it anymore. And that so kids change just as we do.
Yeah, because I was 14 when I stopped watching all that stuff and getting into toys, and I got into music heavily. And then, what is it, 1993? I started collecting toys again. So that was a good 87, 86 to 93. Yeah, when I wasn't into toys or cartoons or nothing.
A good example. Look at your cartoon collection now. It's like it's a library of nostalgia. It's incredible.
It's goodness.
It's all goodness, right? But like,
well, because I'm old, I can sit on the couch and just watch cartoons.
Well, when Bobby was, you know, when Bobby was playing in punk bands and not giving these cartoons a second thought, the Bobby now would be like, "What are you doing, dude? Like this, you're passing that up when you could be later on. You're going to buy it down the line, or vice versa. You know, you could be looking. Your younger self could be looking at your older self, going, "Why are you interested in that stuff? What happened to you?"
That's happened in my head a couple times. Like, well, I mean, I haven't changed much.
Yeah,
but there are some things that are, I'd be like,
Yeah, I mean, I started, probably partially because of your punk rock CDs Instagram account. I started listening to some bands I haven't listened to in like 30 years, and it's great. And so that kind of, faith.
That's one thing. That's one thing that's never changed with me is the music. Once I got into it, I've never stopped. But I've been in the music since I was like 7 years old.
Oh yeah, I mean, once you're into music, you never get out of music. But you might not listen to a band for 30 years and then come back to it later on.
It's possible, yeah.
But I mean, that's just these things are cyclical. Yeah. And we think we have. This is the other thing too. Like we think we have all the answers, but we don't. Like
we don't know.
It's.
And I don't mean to get like I didn't want to get all upset with with Oz and all that.
Oh no, no.
Yeah, it was just it's just different people have different situations.
And these discussions are good, and Oz is right, and you're right, and we're just trying to like figure shit out.
The kids can be stubborn too. You could tell them over and over again not to do something; they're going to do it.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Or they'll go to their friend's house and do it instead.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just put it out there like this: as I'm a couple years younger than you guys. I grew up more with video games than you guys did, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Your young kid years were all through the 80s because you guys were born back in the 70s. I was born in 85. So yes, even though I had this huge love for Mattel, by the time I was getting a little bit older, video games were very relevant.
Yes.
Yeah, you worked at GameStop.
I was a store manager for 10 years.
Yeah. They're important.
Well, I wasn't a store manager for the whole 10 years. I worked my way up and ran a store for several years, but I worked there for a total of over 10 years.
Yeah.
And I watch it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of parents that their kids weren't into toys because they bring them in and games were a babysitter. Hands down, that's all it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that continues.
Yeah.
Like it just continues because it's easier to hand your kid your phone, hand your kid a tablet, and just get them to get distracted and get lost in that, and then they're not causing no trouble. I'm not saying you guys did it. I'm not saying you guys did it.
No. I'm saying, but you can say the same thing with our parents.
When sitting us down in front of a TV with a video game.
This is why we have fond memories of Sesame Street, fond memories of all these cartoons,
That's right.
We sat in front of the fucking TV all the time
and wait,
watching what's happening.
It goes even
Three's
deeper
Company.
than it goes even deeper than that. It goes
Yeah.
even deeper than that. And
So
I just want to say one
let
thing.
me finish out.
Wait, just real quick.
Go ahead, Sally.
Sorry. The
Oh no.
you know, we parents will always try to keep their kids busy and entertained because parents need a break. Gosh darn it, right?
That's
but
right.
They definitely, my parents definitely did that with toys. They needed me to go off into the corner
because they didn't have video games.
Go out into
the
yard.
Gave you toys,
and I took
and
that
go play.
And it's the same thing as my little brother getting a Game Boy. It was the same. It served the same purpose.
Yeah. We did have Atari, and me and my friends were addicted to Atari for a long time.
Okay,
we were playing Atari games all the time.
That's cool.
So I mean,
so to complete my thought and actually finish what I was saying,
go ahead. I apologize.
As I've sat here for about an hour listening to you guys go,
I'm sorry,
and not being able to finish my thought.
Sorry, man.
So,
by the way,
the difference between, you know what, Bobby? There you go. How about that? How about that? I muted him. So you approach it with your kids, right? We are the ones we're the ones that are responsible for basically helping our kids, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so again, Bobby, you bought your son toys. He wasn't really into it. His friends weren't into it. And yes, it's always more fun to play toys with your friends, right?
Yes.
Connor goes to his mother's house. He's got all the video games he can play up at his mother's house. That's absolutely fine. I don't have video games. And I'm the gamer. I don't have video games because I have these.
Mm-hmm.
So I sit down and play with Connor with these.
That's great.
But if you just give your kid toys, most of the time they're not going to play them because they don't know what to do with them. They don't have the play patterns that we had. They don't have the commercials that our parents set us down in front of and watch so that we could give them a break. That show them what they're going to do.
I played with my son too.
I'm sure you did. And I'm not saying that all parents are like this because I'm certainly not trying to say anybody is a bad parent.
No,
but
I'm just saying that he
time with
games,
kids, spending time with your kids and doing things with those kids are going to help breed that. It's going to build those memories, which is going to build the nostalgia, which is going to carry through for the later years, right? Sitting down and building these things with your kids, helping them grow their imaginations, just as important as letting them enjoy things, right? Because if you don't give them these experiences, how do you expect them to get it, right? Like we all got kicked out of the house and we were told you can't come back in until the street lights come on. And you ran around the neighborhood having crazy adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Then we all now get exposure online and we realize like all the kinds of crazy stuff that could happen with stuff like that. So we're a little bit more protective than our parents were about what they do.
No, that's definitely true. Yeah.
We don't let the kids go run around like all crazy and everything.
Neighborhoods are different nowadays.
They are much different. You used to know everybody in your neighborhood. Exactly. I don't know who my neighbors are.
Right. And there's a lot of people that move in and out when people used to stay in neighborhoods for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You had the same neighbors for like 10, 15 years. And now it's like 3 years and you got new neighbors. Right.
So when I lived in Chicago, I knew who was behind us, who was in front of us, who was 3 blocks down that way, 3 blocks down that way.
Yeah, absolutely. You knew everybody.
Yeah. And because everybody had kids,
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. And you all played together too. You all watched each other's backs. And it's a bit different now. Right. Most of the time, if anybody was getting their butts kicked, it was you kicking your friend's butt or your friend kicking your butt. And then, but heaven forbid if some other kid comes into the mix and tries to beat the other one up, and then you gang up on that kid.
Oh, that's happened.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
A lot of cut up hoses.
Little half busted plastic bats that cut the crap out of you. But, I mean, video games are unavoidable these days because it's just another part, right? Mm-hmm. The only way you can do it is if you do something as extreme as me where I don't have video games that Connor can play. Now, a couple years ago, I did have video games. And Connor and I would sit and play video games, or I'd let him go play video games while I did my other thing. There was a whole lot of other mental health issues that I had at the time, too, that I just I wasn't as good as I could be. And there's still times where I'm not as good as I'd like to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I take that spending time with my kid now much more importantly, and I don't want a distraction like a video game to keep me from enjoying. And that's not to say that Connor and I couldn't play a video game together, because now we'd probably have more fun than we did when he was 4.
Yeah.
But, you know, he gets enough game time with his mom. So when he's with me, it's like, let's play with toys. Let's go outside. You know, I was never big into cars or anything like that, right? But last year, Connor got a car for Christmas. And when he finally came over and we were able to go out and play with that car this summer, he drove that thing around until the battery died.
That's good.
Just having a blast with it. Kids will play with toys and they will have fun, but sometimes you gotta, you know, show them a little bit of it. You know,
Yeah,
parents are a lot different though nowadays than they used to be back in the 80s and 70s too.
right?
Where
Again,
they're more career oriented. They think more about their job. You know, all
it's
this other
true.
stuff.
There's
Longer
less time,
hours. You know,
right? Used to
working
be
from
that
home. Don't bother me right now. Go to the other room.
one parent
Yeah.
could pay for a whole household. Now
Yep.
it's if you don't have a dual income, you can't make it. A single person can't live on their own.
Yep.
Period. So, like, you know, and again, without the additional media to help, you know, like I've always said, like Ryan Dole has said, we were programmed as kids.
Mm-hmm.
TV did exactly what they said it was going to do to us. And that's one of the reasons we're so stubborn about things. But, you know, again, you got to find your own way, have fun with your kids. And to say that kids don't buy toys or don't play with toys is it's all up to you.
It's
right.
The part that's up to the parent is to show their kids through engagement that whatever they're interested in can be a tool for finding their place in the world, whether it be video games or be toys or reading or even or whatever it might be, like that a kid might be into. Like they rather than saying like going out and playing and playing with toys versus video games or any of the stuff that initiated this conversation, it's really like the key to being, I think that the key to being a parent that engages with their kids is showing them that they can use that as a tool for creativity and for independent thinking. And video games can be that for kids. But if you're just putting them in front of the video game and then you're not talking to them about it, that's where the problems can
always
occur.
engage with your kids.
But you also
get
have
into what they're into.
But you got to put yourself in the kids' shoes.
Absolutely.
Like when we were kids.
Yeah.
What was your influence? Your friend comes up to you. Did you see this? Oh my God, that's a great toy. I got to get that.
Yeah.
And then the next kid, did you see this? Or
that's the other part of this.
That's how it's going to be.
Exactly.
So you're gonna want to fit in with everybody.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
no. That
when
and that's
your
been
friends
brought
come
up.
over, I got this video game or whatever this thing is I have. Oh, really? I'm going over there, and then they get into it, and then their other friends come over and say, "Well, hey, I got this also here." They're all going to go over there, and that's how that works. I mean, the parents do so much, but the kids are going.
That's exactly it. And the parent also needs to know when to hold back and take a back seat.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of it too.
Yeah,
because
and that's why I said with the video games with my son.
Yeah,
like I said, we did play toys, we did have toys, but a lot of the time they sat there because all of his friends in the neighborhood all wanted to play video games and play or do whatever they were doing.
Yeah,
with that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
and again,
this could backfire on some parents who are Masters of the Universe fans. You throw Masters of the Universe toys at your kids, they might end up really disliking it. So
that's why I didn't do
you.
that with my son with music or nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, he listened to stuff in the car and he would sing in the back like the stuff I would listen to. But later on, he would get into rap and other things, which I don't get into. But he still loves Bad Religion. He still loves Ramones. He loves
it comes back, right?
So it's all he mixes it with his liking. It's like me. I love the Doors. I love the Monkees. I like the Beatles. My parents did.
Yep.
They didn't shove that down my throat, but I liked it.
Yeah, you heard it. It was in the car. It was on the record player.
listening to
No
Yeah,
Bee
as
Gees,
well as
but
modern. Well, it's the Bee Gees,
no
right?
Leo Sayer either or Eddie Rabbit.
Right.
Yeah.
no,
Same,
no
I grew up
Liberace, no
listening
Liberace.
I wish my
actually, some
brother
Liberace,
George
yeah.
was here.
Yeah, it's totally true. And, I'm not going to deny Connor his video games because,
Yeah.
again, he's got video games he can play with his friends at his mom's house.
Yeah.
He gets that time. That doesn't mean he needs to have his time here flooded with that, too.
Oh,
Yeah.
and Satan. He's the big influence,
Well,
That's
absolutely. That's why I got to go play Kiss so Connor can,
or the Beatles.
Yeah.
The
definitely
White Album. Yeah.
Yeah, the White Album.
Play
listening
that
to,
backwards a
the
couple
Rolling
times.
Stones,
Oh,
Ozzy
man.
Osbourne,
Oh,
right?
Judas Priest.
Chicago.
Yeah. You play Saturday in the Park backwards, man. That'll really rip you apart.
Oh, man.
Right?
It'll ruin
Spill
you.
the blood of the innocents.
Thanos.
So, go ahead, Skelly. You want to bring up? Nobody forgets Dayton. He's always around.
Oh, man.
Like,
Yeah.
Joe here. Well, Christopher Cross for the win. But let's go.
Yeah.
Hail Stan.
That's right.
Right.
I think that I'm very thankful that we grew up when we grew up, and at least I'm thankful that I grew up in the generation that I grew up in, because it was like I was just surrounded by all these strange characters, and I was happiest when I was creating the worlds they were in, and whether that helped me or didn't help me, I don't know, but it certainly helped make me who I am.
Yeah.
And when I still, to this day, when I look at Beastman, I can only barely theorize as to why it's appealing, because to any outsider looking at that has never seen it before, they're going to be like, what the heck is that? And why is that interesting? That is strange. Look at Mantenna, for example. It's like, you have to, it's an acquired taste. And honestly, as we spoke about in the previous episode, I brought up Fortnite. Like, it doesn't appeal to me, those characters. They're interesting, but it's definitely an acquired taste. I don't,
we're a product of our time.
We are a product of our time, and we're lucky that the early 80s, early to the late 80s was a very very bizarre
it was a
time.
fun time.
It was a fun time.
I always said I was born in the perfect year.
Yeah,
because I was able to experience the late 70s stuff with the Muppets and things like that.
Yep.
And then, all the cool cartoons in the 80s and all the toys at that period of time.
Yeah.
Also getting into the music that I did.
Yep.
And I'm not too young for it, not old either.
Your lifespan, yours, and I'm following at your heels. You essentially follows the rise of punk rock from and along with that, all these other interesting cultural things happen, and the first blockbusters, and quick succession of very interesting musical movements,
but also able to appreciate the past as well.
Yeah.
Like the movies from the 40s, the 30s, and even the silent films and stuff like that. Kids nowadays won't. Now I'm sounding like an old man again. Well, that shit. But.
I mean, now when we grew up, those old movies were being played on television, and now with streaming services and stuff like that, you pick and choose what you want to watch, and so it's different. It's just a different time. And
if you look back at it now, say the year I was born, right, in 73, 40 years prior to that, it's when Frankenstein and all them were coming out.
Yeah.
Now in 2023, 40 years ago is when He-Man was coming out.
Yeah.
Yep.
That blows your mind.
You know what blows my mind is what blows my mind is in the 80s, listening to music from the 50s on the oldies station.
Right.
And that was only 30 years prior.
Yes.
Only. Like,
Right.
to me, that's mind-boggling. It's like
now 70s music's 50 years earlier, and that's on the oldies station.
That's on the oldies station, and it's even older for young people now.
Right. That's what I mean.
Because they've changed how it goes, right? Because, well, let's face it, there was no such thing as classic rock until what became classic rock. Right. So like your Doors, your Beatles, your Led Zeppelin, and mind you, early Beatles was oldies. It wasn't classic rock.
Yeah.
But then that of music from 25 years ago to 30 years ago is what's considered classic rock now, right?
Yeah.
So when they play classic rock,
Guar's classic rock.
Yeah.
Yes,
Guar
it is. When they play classic rock on the radio here, they're playing stuff like Foo Fighters.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Three Doors Down.
It's so crazy to me.
It is.
Me and buddy, when Ziggy and I go out, when we go out shopping and doing our toy hunts and stuff, right? Most of the time very unsuccessfully, but when we're going out and we're doing stuff, we're driving around, we're listening to, and they even say it, 100.7 The Bay, classic rock. Okay. And they might play a Metallica song, but they're playing Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue. And I'm like, I don't consider it classic, right? And then they play something like Green Day. And we're not talking like Dookie. We're talking Boulevard of Broken Dreams here, Green Day. And I'm like, why are you saying this is classic? This isn't classic. And then I remember, it's 25 years ago. It is classic.
I remember seeing Bad Religion, and All opened up for them. And Green Day was the first band to open up for them.
Right? They were the opening act before they were ever
before they hit big, you know.
And
now it's so
for American Idiot and all that took off and everything. It was all that early stuff. And now it's like, wait a minute, they're classic rock.
Yeah.
Did you say Bad Religion?
Yeah.
Now Bad Religion will be like, you know,
oldies.
Super excited to be included as an opener for a Green Day show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the world we're living in. But I think
world we're living in. People are giving credit to Post Malone for giving an Ozzy Osbourne a shot at chasing his dream to be a musician.
It's bullshit.
If you guys didn't hear about that,
that makes zero sense. I will say this though. I'm like, before I hear myself going on these old man tangents, and I just want to say, like, right now is a really cool time too, and it's really I feel lucky to be alive and to be even talking about this stuff, because
definitely
life ain't easy, man. And if you can make it this far along, then something's working. Right. But to be able to experience you know, these this sort of epic, miraculous time for us, for adult collectors, is, I feel really lucky just to be able to just like look online and see these things.
It's a huge business now.
It's incredible, and it's fun. You know, it's fun. If it stops being fun for people, that's when you got to question. We say this all the time. It should be. I'm thinking it should be on my. It should be on my gravestone. If it stops being fun, stop doing it.
You're underneath says life.
No, if it stops being fun,
it's on your tombstone.
Life stopped being fun, so I stopped.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's where you were going, right?
I don't want to go.
It's been one of the darkest episodes of Toy Frenzy ever.
right on the gravestone. That's what
it's like, as we die, these properties die. And when life's not fun anymore, you might as well just die and be dead.
The other thing too that I want to get across, because that's a whole other conversation. But the other thing I want to get across is, folks that are in the chat, folks that are watching this stuff's never going to die. It's not going away. We'll go away, but these things will stay in some way. All you got to do is go to a freaking antique store and look at these obsolete things. Actually, lots of offensive things too. It probably should not be around, but there's still got a $15 price tag at that antique store. You go to a museum and you can see something at a museum and it's there. It's from 1582, and you see it, right? Like we're lucky enough that that things don't just disappear with us.
Well, people collect it now, so
people collect,
right?
People archive.
People make documentaries on YouTube channels.
That's right. People make documentaries on Netflix, and the stuff will always be around. We are very fortunate to be and
it's important for us to document and preserve, and we all curate a collection, period. Like, we have our own little mini museums of what it is that we like. We curate it, we preserve it, and eventually it'll be nice to one day be able to see a place where you can go in and see this stuff curated at maybe a more professional level. Even though for some of us, it is pretty close to actually already being that way in their own home or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, this is it's going to be. I told my family when I go, just put me on display with my toys.
I always said I want to be cremated. Just toss me off to the side of the dirt.
No.
Yeah.
I want to be taxidermied and set right in one of these, IKEA cases.
Seal up my Castle Grayskull real tight and pour my ashes in the top.
There you go.
And then I'll live forever in its halls, as it won't degrade.
Going back to I know you wanted to say something about it. I guess we could talk briefly about it, but I think it's cool that they're making a Zelda movie.
Yes.
Good for them. Good for them.
Well, we got a live action Zelda on the way and associated with Sony Pictures. And then today, I know you guys probably saw it, but John dropped the trailer in the patron chat, the frenzy chat, for the new Ghostbusters. We finally got a full trailer for that. How exciting is that?
I didn't watch that yet.
It's pretty good. It looks pretty good.
You need to check it out, Bobby.
I still haven't seen Afterlife.
I haven't seen really anything except for the first one.
Silly. All right. Well, one night we're doing a movie night. We're doing a Ghostbusters movie night. I got them all. Well,
I've seen the second one. I didn't care too much for that one.
I got Afterlife. We'll watch Afterlife. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think what Terrence is saying here is nice. And that's probably why we all fell in love with it in the first place. It felt like ours, right? Masters of the Universe felt like it's ours. It's not for everyone. It's an exclusive club for weirdos. Yes.
That's what I felt. I was going to say that earlier, is like a lot of things I get into is really not for the mass public. There's a lot of things I like it's more niche,
Yeah, for sure.
Just seems personal in a way.
Exactly.
Like I like this, but people look at you like, how do you like that? Why do you like that?
Yeah.
Like I prefer Planet of the Apes over Star Wars, or stuff like that.
I can totally see why. And owning your interests is really important.
Yeah.
Own it. Don't be afraid of it. I was so afraid that people would find out that I was a toy collector.
See, I never thought that. I never
You're
thought
lucky,
that.
right? You're lucky.
I mean, I never thought people would feel that way. I just didn't know why,
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just so punk that I don't care.
I think it's because I had those experiences where I was, being told.
No, I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah.
And I still don't understand that. Yeah.
It's weird, and people can really.
I did about the music. People look at me like, how come you get into that stuff?
Yeah.
Why are you weird with that? And I'm like, I like it. It moves me.
Hey, Kenzo. But yeah, I get it. It's like, we're either I like that you had that experience. I had a slightly different experience. It was just like I always felt like I was having to defend the things I was interested in, and
me too.
Yeah,
that's just the way people are, though.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I can't really differentiate, John. I think they're both equally remarkable, and I can't really even categorize Clockwork Orange separately from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, you could go like Phantom of the Paradise and Clockwork or and Rocky Horror. That would be
maybe, yeah, for
similar.
sure. Yeah, I could see that.
A little bit more comparable. Yeah, I could see that. But I mean, both movies, you know, again, Rocky Horror Picture Show and Clockwork Orange are both phenomenal. No reason not to like either one.
They're both extremely weird.
Yes.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Let's go hang out on a milk bar, guys.
Yeah.
That's right. Go listen to the Addicts.
That's right.
Hey, there you go.
They,
so,
they mimic them.
Sorry, go ahead, Bobby.
No, I would say their image is like the Clockwork Orange guys.
Oh yeah. Yep.
The Droogs.
The Droogs.
Yeah.
My Droogs. What you got coming up, Bobby? Oz, anything exciting?
Well, tomorrow my new episode drops, part 4, The Informant for the. But yeah, this one's a lot of surprises in this one. It's going to be really cool. I hope everybody enjoys it.
Where can people go to find it, Bobby?
On my YouTube channel, Bobby _dangerously. Yeah. It's airs tomorrow at 9:00 Eastern, noon Eastern, 9:00 Pacific.
Right. I was gonna say it always rolls around right around the time I'm going to lunch, which, like I said, is perfect because it's like that perfect amount of time that as I'm sitting outside enjoying myself, I could just pop Bobby on and listen while I eat my lunch, smoke my cigarettes, and pretend I'm a very noir detective.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I hope it does something, you know, for everybody.
I love it, Bobby.
I hope. Thank you. I you know, if it takes your mind off of something for 10, 15 minutes, you know.
I love it too.
Definitely.
It's great. It puts me in a headspace that I need to be in.
Yeah. I got part 5 already written. I'm gonna record that this weekend. I'm continuing it. So
that's great. So do you think a question for you real quick, do you think that imposing deadlines for yourself helps you be a creative?
I don't know. Yeah, no, not really.
No?
Because there's times where like I'll sit there, I go, I got to write this episode, and I start writing. I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I'm working. I go to lunch. I got an idea. Boom! I wrote the whole episode.
Yeah.
It just happens, you know.
Now, if you didn't have
if I did have like the weekly thing, like you know, every Friday, I think it pushes me and it helps me because I can get lazy. You know what I mean? So I'll be like, well, you know what, maybe I'll just skip this week and do it next week.
Yeah.
Like, no, but I can't, because if I let it sit too long, I'm gonna forget
that's
ideas and things as well.
Exactly. You're gonna lose that mojo, right?
Yeah.
So
I already got ideas for the whole case 2. I have another project I'm thinking of too. That I've been thinking about that for 10 years. But I think I want to do that too. So
you have a platform for it, you know?
Yeah, I'm finally doing something.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
I'm loving it, man. I'm really proud of you for
thank you.
Stepping back up to the bat and really knocking it out of the park with this one, man, because it's fantastic. I find myself waiting each week for it.
Oh, nice. I try to get it done by Sunday so I can send it out on Monday to the patrons to give them a chance to listen to it for a couple days, and then I have to schedule it so it gets promoted out there.
Yeah.
So, but I try to do that, and then I'll have outtakes and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
Patreon exclusive outtakes. There you go.
Yeah, you're gonna hear me swear at myself and call myself stupid when I'm reading. So, it's like, you stupid ass. I wrote this fucking thing and I can't read it.
I love it.
So yeah, it's great.
I feel you on the struggles of scripts because you guys know I just do live streams. I don't do like a lot of any kind of recorded content because I find myself terrible at scripting. And so when Ken was sending me the script for the history project and I'm sitting there trying to read lines, we managed to do it in one sitting, which was really good because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to. Ken was pretty sure we were going to have to do it multiple sittings, but we managed to knock it out of the park right before I went live on Saturday. So I got that was pretty good. But I feel your pain, dude, because I'm like sitting there like, God, I sound like an ass.
Well, there's one line I wrote it's in the first episode, and it reminded me of how Gene Wilder was in, what was that movie? Where he getting married and they do that old time radio show. What was that movie?
Haunted Honeymoon?
Yeah, Haunted Honeymoon, where you
yeah.
couldn't say the wolf. You go woo 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 woo,
Yeah,
like that. Well, I had that line
Okay.
where it says only the true will rule. So I can't even say will rule.
Only the
And I was like,
true.
I had to
Might have been
I had to
tongue-tied for
repeat that like about 12 times, that line. I had to keep recording it. I'm like,
Yeah.
you fucking idiot! Why did you write this if you can't speak it? So that stuff you'll get in the Patreon if you're on there. You know, you'll get that one day.
Right.
But I think I might do like a compiling of it when I do the whole story.
Yeah,
you know, like case one. Once case one's done, then
do like the whole thing.
Exclusive will get the outtakes of all the episodes mixed up together.
Love it.
That's a great idea. That's phenomenal, man.
And then the punk rock CD stuff I really am enjoying doing on Instagram.
Yeah, keep it up. It's making me happy every day.
Oh, I got thousands of CDs, so it's going to take a long time to get through them all.
Right, that's what I like to hear.
So yeah,
nice.
But that's what I got going on. It sounds good to actually say I have this happening. So it's
cool. It's good, and it's all good stuff.
Yeah, I got my creative flow back from the early '90s. So
there you go.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Skele, what about you?
Nothing. Just kidding.
No?
There's a new episode of Cambridge and with Shawn up on wherever you listen to your podcasts. That episode is up. It's episode 10. And we talk about some very interesting things. I'm not going to tell you what it is, so you can go and listen. And then I think, no, I don't know. Well, I've been doing the weekly weirdos less frequently lately because we've had busy weekends with the family, and I'm not gonna promise that it's gonna happen this weekend, but I've got something here that I want to talk about. So, and I've got our trip to Pismo video pretty much ready to launch. Okay. Show you the couple things that I found at the antique store. Stores. Other than that, that's it.
Nice.
How about you, Oz?
Well, matter of fact, coming up this Sunday, you will catch me over on Brick Something's channel for some news with Thanos. We're actually going to be doing the what did he call it? Hold on a sec here. Let me see. I got like a formal invitation in the mail here. Here it is. This is what he called it. So I gotta actually pull the whole thing out so I can read it. It's on paper. Sad Boy Legions Con. So we'll be doing that on Brick Something's channel this Sunday. Come check us out. It's going to be Brick Something, Thanos, and myself talking about all the things we've really seen cool coming from Legions Con, because they're actually going to be announcing a new figure wave tomorrow. That's going to be really neat.
Nice.
Rising Sun. And then of course, this upcoming Saturday